Xenify is a meta aggregator of aggregators that allows you to swap between 54 different networks, including Bitcoin and other EVM compatible chains. And they use over 60 different aggregators and DEXs to accomplish this with the best routing and the cheapest gas fees at no additional cost to you. This is a meta aggregator of those aggregators. So instead of me having like 10 bookmarks like I do right now for swaps and DEXs and bridging, I could just use this, and it has Rubik and Rango here and all these other ones and Change Now, and I could just use this and have all the info on one screen in whatever fashion I want. If I want the best return or the lowest gas or the fastest route or just the best route, just do the thinking for me. You guys do that basically in real time, and you can refresh it here automatically. And this is super nice, man. I'm telling you what, I've been doing DeFi for a while. This is slick. This is really nice. Good job.
I mean,
good job on this, man. This is great.
The goal was to make the user, one, they don't have to pay a fee. Two, to make it simple for a user to come to Xenify, to use the tool, right? Because now there's no reason why you shouldn't, because we don't charge a fee. You get to see the best route at a single glance. You don't have to open a million of tabs of different aggregators to determine which one offers the best price. And two, we provide, you could say, solutions that are, I would say, harder to achieve, where you can go from Bitcoin to any EVM chain, right, with a single click and a Unisat wallet. We even perform swaps through private swaps, because we have an aggregator, our partner, Houdini Swap, which basically can prioritize, like make it private by tunneling your swap through Monero and then releasing it in a EVM token. So, and that's all of that can be done through Xenify. And at the same time, you can pay a fee and earn XNF. So,
wow.
Yeah. I think the beautiful part is that you could actually swap between not just EVM chains, but you can actually swap from non-EVM chains like Bitcoin, right? So
that's one of my favorite things about this, by the way. Yeah. I love Bitcoin. So I try to make money in DeFi on EVM chains, and then I have to go through a whole process to get it over to Bitcoin in my Bitcoin wallet. And this way, I could just take it from any EVM chain, basically, and send it straight to Bitcoin with the best routing and the best prices. Is that right?
Correct. So it's like if you was to use a non-EVM like StealthX or any aggregator, which are also our partners, you would probably be, the way the process would work is you would have to put in the address that you are wanting to send the Bitcoin to. And then you would have to send that EVM tokens to an address that they kind of provide. So there's a lot of steps involved for you to actually perform these tasks. But if you utilize us, it's within a single click. So the only thing you have to do is put in your Bitcoin address and swap. And that's it.
Wow.
And in fact, if you're coming from Bitcoin to an EVM chain, then it would be the opposite. So you just have to connect your Unisat wallet. If you have Bitcoin on that wallet, then you can basically swap between any of those chains that we offer. And you just have to put in your EVM address. Wow. And that's it.
That's a game changer for me.
And it's completely free.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
That's amazing.
So yeah, so if you just want to generally come to the site and perform a swap, you can actually visually see, right, the best route, the best pricing at a single glance. And we don't even charge a fee. It's completely free. Like, it doesn't make a difference if you swap with us or if you swap with the aggregator. The amount that you receive back is exactly the same. So what we feel that we're performing is like we're giving the user the ability to basically get the best quote that he can get by just coming to Xenify and visually seeing it and then performing the swap. So he doesn't have to, open up 10 different tabs looking at each of those aggregator and the pricing of each one and then selecting the route that they want to choose. We want to do it for free, and we want to be able to actually visually provide the user the ability to select that route. So I would say if you're just generally swapping, I would say that would be one of the best tools, you could say, in your arsenal when you do want to swap between tokens, is to use our swap UI. If you actually want to earn tokens, like you actually want to start earning rewards, that's where you could perform swaps on chains where XNF has been deployed. Right now, we are deployed on Arbitrum. So that means if you perform a swap between, from Arbitrum to another chain or within Arbitrum, you will be prompted if you want to earn XNF, or if you want to basically perform the swap for free, right? Like the other chains. But if you choose to earn XNF, then, like I mentioned before, there will be 2 transactions involved. The first transaction is the fee, which is 0.5%. That goes to the contract, right? As will be utilized by the contract. And then the second transaction is your actual swap amount, which gets processed by the aggregator, which the aggregator kind of handles, the one that you selected. Now, at the end of the cycle, which is a 24-hour cycle, you would receive back VE/XNF, which we'll cover later, I guess. But with that VE/XNF, you'll be able to earn native rewards every day, as long as you retain the lock that is on that VE/XNF. So that means you'll be able to earn ETH on Arbitrum and BNB on the Binance Smart Chain. So yeah, I think in the way you can think of it is perform a swap on Arbitrum, have the ability to earn XNF, and now you have the ability to earn ETH. So it's a very different approach compared to like other aggregators where they kind of don't really provide a value back in this sense. To like, for example, if you perform a swap on 1inch, they're not really giving you a fee back, right? Or giving you any tokens back by you paying that fee to them. So with us, it's more of like, if you want to earn that XNF, then you have a possibility to earn ETH. So the fee that you're paying, that 0.5% that you're paying, you're probably going to 10 times that. Even if you don't want to earn the ETH and you just want to wait out the year, I'm pretty sure that the value of XNF during that 1 year period would be far higher than the fees that you paid for it at the time of the swap.
The potential price appreciation of the XNF token, like we're seeing here, this chart is crazy, you guys. What is this? Like, this is beautiful.
It will be, it's interesting because you're seeing it you're seeing it in real time, how it's playing out. The liquidity started with 100,000 and today we're at 300,000 within 5 days.
Right. And that's on Arbitrum, which is not, this is not BNB Smart Chain yet. This is not Ethereum yet. This is not Arbitrum.
Yeah.
So BNB Smart Chain is coming in 3 days. I can only imagine what that chart is going to do in the first 5 days. What date is that?
This Friday.
It's the 8th. Yeah, Friday the 8th
Okay.
at 9:30 UTC. Correct. Xenify is coming to the BNB chain.
Awesome. So December 8th at 9:30 p.m. UTC, Xenify is coming to BNB Smart Chain. And if it goes anything like how it went on Arbitrum, that would be insane. I think it's already 3, 4, or 5x'd at this point on Arbitrum. So BNB is much bigger, and that could be really exciting. Before we start diving into things, I'm going to pull up the chart here. This is on your website. So if you guys go to Xenify, XENIFY.io, you can see their price of the XNF token on Arbitrum right now. Look at that chart, and it started at like 75 cents or something, and it's at $3.30 right now in 5 days. So very successful launch so far of the XNF token on Arbitrum, and you have a version of it coming to Binance Smart Chain, BNB Smart Chain in 3 days on December 8th. Correct?
Yeah. And it's going to be even more aggressive than Arbitrum, because Arbitrum was our intention of Arbitrum was to be less volatile, but BNB chain will be way more volatile with the price. So it could actually do multiple more X's than what you see on Arbitrum.
Could this chart continue like this forever? Or what do you think realistically is going to happen, let's say over the next month or 2 or 3? What do you think could potentially happen?
Okay, so firstly, XNF's token, it has a max cap of 22,600,000, right? Very similar to Bitcoin. There was an airdrop event that happened 2 months ago, and there is 1.5 million tokens that were distributed. Now, these tokens are locked, and only 2,000 XNF is distributed each day for the next 730 days. Okay. So, one, when it comes to scarcity, we have an aggressive halvening approach. Okay. So the first halvening actually happens in 90 days from launch, which basically means the 20,000 that's distributed each day gets dropped to half, which means it goes from 20,000 to 10,000 a day. The second halvening happens 6 months after that, where the rewards will drop from 10,000 to 5,000. And then from that point, we have another halving 12 months later from that 6 months. 12 months later, there'll be a third halvening where it go from 5,000 to 2,500 a day. And then from 12 months, the next halving after that will be 24 months, and then 4 years, and then it'll be 4 yearly halvenings after that, until it reaches a fixed amount of 156 XNF that will be distributed throughout the next 200 years, right?
Okay.
So there is a lot of halvenings that are coming out. So that's one that would help bring up the price, I would say. 2 is the buyback and burning. As we explained, a lot of the ETH occurred goes towards that. The other portion would be the one-time selling. So when users do want to sell, that XNF is permanently removed out of circulation because of the black hole we've created, which means that the protocol will eventually buy and burn and remove those tokens from existence, right? So that's another aspect towards the scarcity. And then I would say the other one would be the Ethereum launch, which will mean that users would be burning a ton of XNF tokens or VXNF tokens to participate on Ethereum. So if Ethereum does really well, if the swap volume and the participation is really good, as it would be, right? Since it's the biggest chain, right? When it comes to ETH, and we're in the Zen community, Ethereum is always the best. Then it would probably increase the burning of XNF or liquid XNF that's on Arbitrum and BNB chain. So that would further accelerate the scarcity. And given that there's so many halvenings in the first year, I think it's pretty doable. And I think the price can only increase over time with the liquidity. And you can see it, right? The liquidity started at 100,000. The liquidity is growing with the price. I wouldn't be surprised $10 is $1 million in liquidity.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
the way it's going.
This chart is
$100
going...
will be 10 million.
So all those factors that you explained make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but a lot of people, they have to see the long-term view, right?
Yeah.
I see it as XNF is an appreciating asset. It has, you could say, burner mentals put into the protocol, right? With the buyback and burning. And it's designed to become scarce over time. So by you contributing ETH or by you swapping or you burning any of those two tokens to get XNF, that XNF will one day be valued at a greater amount because of these built-in features. So to me, I feel like XNF could be over $100, in a year, because it's designed to do that. And then especially we're going into a bull run, we're in that next year, right? Because of the halving of Bitcoin. I think the upside is there. The protocol is immutable. We can't change anything. We can't adjust anything. We can't remove anything, right? Whatever that has been coded is coded, right? So it's going to run forever, just like the Zen contract, It's out there in the wild, like you said, and it's designed to do what it's designed to do, in other words, which is to become scarce over time, to remove tokens when you sell permanently. And then further, when we go on to Ethereum, it's going to even accelerate that scarcity. The thing is, it's always early. Like, like when something which is small and then becomes into the thousands and hundreds, right, in the future, where there's so many users, thousands of users participating each day, that's when, you find a gem, right? And something that's entirely immutable, something that can't be changed once it's deployed, something that's based on first principles when it comes to fair distribution of that underlying token. I think that's where we want more projects to build towards, instead of having ownership, admin keys and distrust, I would say. So that's why Zen ecosystem projects build in this way. We build in a way where there's no admin keys, entirely immutable, trustless, fair distribution with the tokens based on participation. And I think X1, when it does launch, will have a lot of projects. I would say X1 would outperform many EVM chains because of this fact, because projects will be building in this principle. We've put it in many ways because, not many people around the world can afford even 0.01 ETH, right?
Right.
So we've even made it, even if you pay a swap fee of $1, right? You're still going to get some portion of VEXNF.
That's true.
So it kind of fits into everyone's preference, right? Like, it doesn't mean that you're stuck now and you can't participate because you can't afford the burn fee. You can even pay cents in fees, and actually get a share of VEXNF, by just doing even a Uniswap transaction on Arbitrum is quite, it's not that expensive to perform those transactions. I think the thing is, a lot of people, the way it works is first month, people try to understand the protocol. they get into it, they put maybe a small, portion in, they test it out, they figure out their strategy. And then when we deploy on a different chain, like now BNB chain, then they already have seen Arbitrum. And now they know that BNB chain is going to be more aggressive. You're reducing that initial liquidity down to 20,000 from 100,000. Now the price appreciation is going to be insane.
Yeah.
It's not going to be $1, $2, $3. It's probably going to be $10, $20, and the price on every new cycle is just going to accelerate that price up, which kind of brings in more users to, more BNB whales will realize that once they start seeing the liquidity going up, they'll be seeing the price going up very aggressively. And then they can look at Arbitrum and see, holy shit, this is how it works.
Hey everybody, it's Alex here, and on today's episode of the YaBonks Show, I have an awesome AMA interview for you guys. I have the founders of Xenify with me today, and Xenify is a meta aggregator of aggregators that allows you to swap between 54 different networks, including Bitcoin and other EVM compatible chains. And they use over 60 different aggregators and DEXs to accomplish this with the best routing and the cheapest gas fees at no additional cost to you. So it's a really awesome swap and utility that they've got here. Like I said, it's a meta aggregator of aggregators. It's a tongue twister. And then on top of that, they've got a token called the XNF token that you can use in a bunch of different ways to potentially earn some extra yield and rewards. And we're going to dive into that. I am here today with Simran and Day. Simran, do you want to say hi to the audience and maybe introduce yourself first?
Sure. So my name is Simran. I am initially born in the UK. Did my high school in. Actually, I did my university degree in Malaysia. Then moved to Australia. But yeah, I've been in this space since 2016. Became a builder in 2021. And yeah.
These Simran and Day are both fully doxed, by the way. They've been working out here in the space publicly for a long time. You can find them on LinkedIn and see all the stuff that they've been involved with. And Day, do you want to introduce yourself now for the audience?
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. Actually comes from a long history of working in software. And actually, I come from gaming. I worked for Sony Interactive Entertainment, or what you know as PlayStation, for up to 7 years until 2021, where I transitioned to crypto. I actually started to get, of course, fittingly in GameFi first is how I got introduced. And then I just, got sucked in. I always been into, software innovation, development, and all of that. And that's how I found the guys, and I've been working together with them since 2 years ago.
Very cool. That's awesome that you worked at PlayStation for so long. I think that's something many of us can relate to. Now, do one of you want to give me an elevator pitch or overview of Xenify?
I think, like how you said before, it's a meta aggregator of aggregators. So what we basically do is we facilitate swaps between those aggregators and providing you with the best route. So by you coming to Xenify, you're able to visually see at a glance the best routes that could be possible for the swap that you're trying to perform. So you could just come to the site, put the pairs that you are wanting to swap into, right, or from, and you can visually see each aggregator's price, and you could just select any of them. And what is actually amazing is that when you do select it and perform the swap, you're not paying any fees. It's completely free to use Xenify. We don't attach any fees. And basically when you perform the swap, you're actually getting the exact same swap from that aggregator as though if you were using their own site and utilizing their own contract. So we just facilitate the best route for you visually, and we basically do it for free.
Wow. So this simplifies a lot of things.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We even have an on and off ramp integration as well.
Yeah. I think the beautiful part is that you could actually swap between not just EVM chains, but you can actually swap from non-EVM chains like Bitcoin, right? So
that's one of my favorite things about this, by the way. Yeah. I love Bitcoin. So I try to make money in DeFi on EVM chains, and then I have to go through a whole process to get it over to Bitcoin in my Bitcoin wallet. And this way I could just take it from any EVM chain basically and send it straight to Bitcoin with the best routing and the best prices. Is that right?
Correct. So it's like if you was to use a non-EVM like StealthX or any aggregator, which are also our partners, you would probably the way the process would work is you would have to put in the address that you are wanting to send the Bitcoin to. And then you would have to send that EVM tokens to an address that they kind of provide. So there's a lot of steps involved for you to actually perform these tasks. But if you utilize us, it's within a single click. So the only thing you have to do is put in your Bitcoin address and swap. And that's it.
Wow.
And in fact, if you're coming from Bitcoin to an EVM chain, then it would be the opposite. So you just have to connect your Unisat wallet. If you have Bitcoin on that wallet, then you can basically swap between any of those chains that we offer. And you just have to put in your EVM address. Wow. And that's it.
That's a game changer for me.
And it's completely free.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now I don't want to dive all the way into the nitty gritty just yet. We will do that shortly. But in addition to all that, made an aggregator of aggregator across all these networks at no extra cost to you, and going from Bitcoin to EVM networks and vice versa in just one click. Super cool, amazing, game changing for me. In addition to that, on certain chains that you are rolling out the Xenify token, XNF, is it true that there is potentially some DeFi game theory strategy for me to potentially earn some extra yield while I'm swapping?
Yeah, correct. So the thing is, the idea of Xenify is to be free or have it optional to the user to decide what path he wants to swap in, right? Whether he wants to pay a fee or if he doesn't want to pay a fee. So when Xenify deploys onto a chain, for example, we're right now on Arbitrum. If a user does perform a swap within Arbitrum or from Arbitrum, he will be prompted whether he wants to earn XNF or if he wants to perform the swap with 0 fees, right? Just like swapping on any other chain. So if he chooses to earn XNF, then there is a 0.5% fee, which is attached to his swap amount, which means that there will be 2 transactions. So the first transaction will be in the native token. So on Arbitrum, that's ETH. And then the second transaction is the actual swap transaction that goes through the aggregator. So the fee actually gets sent to the protocol contract, and your swap amount actually gets sent to the aggregator. So the user is actually performing 2 transactions when they want to earn XNF. But by you actually earning then like when you have that XNF, that gives you the possibility to start earning native rewards from. So you can actually start earning ETH from that XNF.
And I have so much I want to talk about with that portion of this, because I've been looking over this for days, and we've been talking for 2 hours already, and it's super exciting. The chart for the XNF token on Arbitrum that you guys released like a week ago or less is insane. And do you have any news or announcements or special dates coming up that you want to let the audience know about right now?
Yeah, so on Friday, we'll be deploying XNF also on the Binance Smart Chain, so the BNB chain. It will be at 9:30 p.m. UTC.
What
and it's
date is that?
This Friday.
It's the 8th. Yeah, Friday the 8th at 9:30 UTC. Correct. Xenify is coming to the BNB chain.
Awesome. So December 8th at 9:30 p.m. UTC, Xenify is coming to BNB Smart Chain. And if it goes anything like how it went on Arbitrum, that would be insane. I think it's already 3, 4, or 5x'd at this point on Arbitrum. So BNB is much bigger, and that could be really exciting. Before we start diving into things, I'm going to pull up the chart here. This is on your website. So if you guys go to Xenify, XENIFY.io, you can see their price of the XNF token on Arbitrum right now. Look at that chart, and it started at like 75 cents or something. And it's at $3.30 right now in 5 days. So very successful launch so far of the XNF token on Arbitrum, and you have a version of it coming to Binance Smart Chain, BNB Smart Chain in 3 days on December 8th. Correct?
Yeah. And it's going to be even more aggressive than Arbitrum, because Arbitrum was our intention of Arbitrum was to be less volatile, but BNB chain will be way more volatile with the price, so it could actually do multiple more X's than what you see on Arbitrum.
Amazing. And there are so many cool aspects to this project that contribute to this type of chart, and we'll break all that down here shortly. But the liquidity right now is already at $333,000, and that's in XNF and wrapped ETH. Just really beautiful chart, such a great launch. And a lot of what is going on here also benefits the Zen community, XEN. And I know a lot of my viewers have Zen tokens. And you can actually use Zen tokens in this ecosystem to get XNF tokens, which are currently outperforming Zen right now. I mean, it's outperforming, it's like a 5x. I mean, it's outperforming everything in the last week, but
it's designed to be scarce, XNF, over time. Yeah.
So let's jump into first what's in it for the end user. I always like to ask about the value proposition here. And since you guys kind of have a two-factor project, first is your main utility, which is the coolest part, I think, the Meta Aggregator of Aggregators. What is the main value proposition for users there? And then what's the main value proposition for users that potentially want to try to make some money with the XNF token and the auctions and the staking and all that stuff? What are the value propositions, if you could explain them?
So if you just want to generally come to the site and perform a swap, you can actually visually see, right, the best route, the best pricing at a single glance. And we don't even charge a fee. It's completely free. Like it doesn't make a difference if you swap with us or if you swap with the aggregator. The amount that you receive back is exactly the same. So what we feel that we're performing is like we're giving the user the ability to basically get the best quote that he can get by just coming to Xenify and visually seeing it and then performing the swap. So he doesn't have to, open up 10 different tabs looking at each of those aggregator and the pricing of each one and then selecting the route that they want to choose. We want to do it for free, and we want to be able to actually visually provide the user the ability to select that route. So I would say if you're just generally swapping, I would say that would be one of the best tools, you could say, in your arsenal when you do want to swap between tokens, is to use our swap UI. If you actually want to earn tokens, like you actually want to start earning rewards, that's where you could perform swaps on chains where XNF has been deployed. Right now, we are deployed on Arbitrum. So that means if you perform a swap between, from Arbitrum to another chain or within Arbitrum, you will be prompted if you want to earn XNF, or if you want to basically perform the swap for free, right? Like the other chains. But if you choose to earn XNF, then, like I mentioned before, there will be 2 transactions involved. The first transaction is the fee, which is 0.5%. That goes to the contract, right? As will be utilized by the contract. And then the second transaction is your actual swap amount, which gets processed by the aggregator, which the aggregator kind of handles, the one that you selected. Now, at the end of the cycle, which is a 24-hour cycle, you would receive back VE XNF, which we'll cover later, I guess. But with that VE XNF, you'll be able to earn native rewards every day, as long as you retain the lock that is on that VE XNF. So that means you'll be able to earn ETH on Arbitrum and BNB on the Binance Smart Chain. So yeah, I think in the way you can think of it is perform a swap on Arbitrum, have the ability to earn XNF, and now you have the ability to earn ETH. So it's a very different approach compared to like other aggregators where they kind of don't really provide a value back in this sense. To like, for example, if you perform a swap on 1inch, they're not really giving you a fee back, right? Or giving you any tokens back by you paying that fee to them. So with us, it's more of like, if you want to earn that XNF, then you have a possibility to earn ETH. So the fee that you're paying, that 0.5% that you're paying, you're probably going to 10 times that. Even if you don't want to earn the ETH and you just want to wait out the year, I'm pretty sure that the value of XNF during that 1 year period would be far higher than the fees that you paid for it at the time of the swap.
So if I swap on Arbitrum right now, or say BNB Smart Chain in a few days when you guys deploy XNF over there, I would be able to click an option that says take a 0.5% swap fee and put that into the into XNF rewards, into the swap auction.
Yeah.
And or I could just say no, thank you, and have no 0.5% fee for swapping at all.
Yeah.
And
it's completely free.
It's completely free. But if I want an opportunity to earn in this ecosystem, I could do that 0.5% swap fee, and I would get a position in the form of VE XNF. It's basically like a specialized NFT that just has your position, and that basically drips out XNF rewards and native token rewards every day for the life of that. Is that right?
So it kind of drips out ETH rewards, but it does not drip out XNF. So XNF basically is only given out at the end of the lock term. So by you claiming VEXNF, you're basically claiming a 1-year lock position, which is maximum power, right? So you're claiming the maximum power for 1 year. And then if you choose not to extend that lock and retain that power, then you can wait it out for a year. And then at the end of that year is when you'll be able to burn the NFT and release the XNF.
I see. Okay. So I do the swaps. I say, yes, I want the 0.5% fee so I can earn some of the fees and everything generated in this ecosystem. And that gets me the VEXNF token. And that token sits there. It's like an NFT basically. And it has a lock period of 1 year, correct?
Correct.
And so for 1 year, that will drip out rewards for each daily cycle in an amount of the in the amount of the native token on that chain. In this case, on Arbitrum, it would be ETH token, right?
Correct. So it would drip out ETH on every cycle, but that also means that you would have to retain that lock for a year, right? So that means to retain your full power, in other words, because we have a decay on that power, which basically means in 30 days, if you do not extend that lock, your power would go down by 50%. And then on day 60, it will be 0%. And then at that point, you would have to wait out the 10 months, not earning any rewards, right? Till you can actually unlock that XNF. So
and that's part of the game theory here.
Yeah, the game theory. Like, would you wait the 10 months to not like earn anything during that time, or would you extend it again by that difference? So also, it's not. I think there was a bit of confusion also with some users, is that they think that they have to add 1 year to the lock, right? But it's not. So imagine if you claim your VEXNF, and then after, let's just say a day, your power goes down and you just want to extend the lock to retain that power that you initially had. You just need to extend it by a day. So so in other words, you're just maintaining that 1 year lock over time till you choose not to earn any ETH anymore on every daily cycle.
And basically, that doesn't cost anything except some gas to do. I just come over here to the lock tab, and it shows my VEXNF positions, which you conveniently have a merge all button, so I can actually roll up all of my VENFT earning power positions into one for easier management. And then I just click extend or create lock on it, and then I can extend it for a year again and maximize the VEXNF power, which determines the amount of the native token, in this case Ethereum, that I would receive as a portion of the ecosystem's distributions each daily cycle. So every day I would come in here. If my power, VE power, is good, then I would have ETH waiting for me, which I can claim or recycle and put back into this. Am I right so far on all that?
Yeah, so like basically you have a merge all button. So what the merge all button does is it just merges all the NFTs, because as you know, if you're swapping every day, right, and you're basically getting VEXNF rewards on every cycle, then when you claim those rewards, there is actually creating an NFT that's being sent to your wallet, right, with a 1 year lock, basically at full power. So eventually over time, there'll be so many different NFTs to manage. So that's why we created the merge all, to have it so that by you triggering the merge all, you're actually combining all those NFTs into one NFT that has a 1 year lock at full power. so that
Nice.
it's a bit more easier and straightforward for a user to maintain his portfolio.
Now, if I wanted to, though, based on my own game strategy, maybe I want to have 10 different NFTs here. Maybe I keep a couple of them at max power, but maybe I have like 6 of them that I let come to expiration so I can start harvesting XNF tokens when those finally expire. But I say I keep a couple NFTs for harvesting native tokens or like Ethereum or BNB using the max power strategy of constantly relocking my VE XNF NFTs for the whole year. Say I come in here and I do that to 3 or 4 of them, so I'm still earning blue chip tokens or native tokens from the ecosystem. But then say I've got like 5 or 6 other of these that I'm just waiting to expire so I can start accumulating XNF tokens for whatever my strategy is. Would that be a viable strategy?
I mean, yeah. I would say if you're looking to earn ETH, then I would say having a single position, locking it whenever you feel, whatever duration that you feel comfortable with. But remember that locking it for a year gives you the best power because it's the maximum lock. So we have a duration, right? So the minimum is 1 week, the maximum is 1 year. Mm-hmm. So 1 year gives you the full power. So if you was to lock 1,000 XNF for 1 year, you would get 1,000 VE XNF, which basically determines that you have full power on your XNF tokens. So if you're looking just to earn ETH, then I would say having a single position at full power and making sure that you always extend the lock so you retain the earning power on that NFT. But if you're looking to get XNF, then I would say maybe you could have a different strategy where you have 2 NFTs, right? So one that waits out, but you don't earn any ETH. You're just waiting for it to unlock. And then you have one which is earning you ETH, right? That's extended out on every, in every cycle, basically, so that you retain that earning power.
Now, if I love XNF, I mean, look at this chart right now. Who wouldn't love this token? And granted, I don't know what the future holds. Anybody, not financial advice. This is just, look at this chart. It's a beautiful launch. But let's say I wanted to get XNF tokens right now on Arbitrum, or say on BNB Smart Chain in 3 days when it launches. If I'm expecting personally a similar launch like this, could I just go buy XNF tokens somewhere?
So that's the beauty. So right now, the only way for you to buy XNF tokens is if a user creates a liquidity pool, which we call a secondary liquidity pool, right? So if a user was to, pair their XNF that they received from the burn auctions, right, with any token of their choosing, that is the only place where you would be able to purchase XNF, right?
Okay.
From a liquidity pool or sell. And selling actually can only happen in the protocol-owned liquidity pool. So that means, as you know, the protocol, when it did launch or when it got deployed on the second cycle, it actually utilized all the ETH that it collected during the first cycle and paired it with XNF on the second cycle to actually create that protocol-owned liquidity on Uniswap Reach-Free. And that pool basically means that 1% fee tier pool means that you can only sell into it and you can't buy from it.
Okay,
you only can buy, if a community member was to make a secondary pool, then you can buy from that pool. So there's only 2 ways to get XNF. The auctions, the daily auctions that are, being performed right now on Arbitrum, or to actually waiting for a community member to actually create that secondary liquidity pool.
Okay, I see. So right now, the protocol owned liquidity, there is no technical way for me to buy or swap XNF tokens out of it. So if a whale wanted to come in here and just buy up all the XNF and then, wait for it to go up a bit and then dump it, they technically couldn't do that, correct? Unless somebody else made their own liquidity pair. But, I mean, you guys have $333,000, $332,000 worth of liquidity in the protocol-owned liquidity pool. So, I mean, if somebody made their own liquidity pool, like $1,000 or $5,000, you're probably not going to get too many tokens out of that. And so it's very interesting how you guys have set this up.
Yeah, the intention was to have it in a way, one, the user is able to freely trade his XNF if there is a secondary pool created for it. But two, if they choose to sell into that protocol-owned liquidity, it can only happen once. That XNF that gets sold into that protocol-owned liquidity cannot be, re-put back into circulation because no one can buy from the pool. So that means whenever you sell into it, that's forever gone from circulation.
So down here on the pooled XNF side of the liquidity pool, these approximately 50,000 tokens of XNF, those are never coming out of this pool. Yeah. Unless they're getting burned by the protocol itself. Is that right?
Correct. So the way it works is that whenever someone participates, meaning either they burn in the burn auction, if they swap and pay the fee, or they participate with just native, 70% of that ETH occurred during each cycle is instantly used to buy back and burn XNF. And if you see right now, for XNF, we initially started with 100,000 XNF on the LP side. Today, after 5 days, almost 50% of it is already burnt.
Yeah, and you guys even have this on your website. Total XNF burned 54,000 tokens.
Yeah.
So that's in 5 days. So is that what is causing these crazy price pumps that you see on the chart?
Yeah, because people are participating in the auctions. So it's actually, the way it works is that the only way for you to really get XNF is by you participating in these auctions. If you want tradable liquid XNF, then you would have to burn either VZen or YSL. Then by you burning those two tokens, you're paying a burn fee. That burn fee is in ETH, right? And that basically puts you into that auction where you get a certain share of that daily distribution of XNF. Now, that when you actually contribute that ETH is instantly used to buy and burn XNF. That's why that if you see at the start of a cycle, you get that huge run up. Because what is actually happening is that everyone is participating at that same time to get the discount. And what that's doing is that it's creating the protocol to do insane number of buybacks and burns on the token, which is causing the price to go parabolic in that few hours of each new cycle.
Yeah, and that's you mentioned a few different terms. So we have the auctions, we have the daily cycle, and we have the discount. Do you want to explain what the auction is and the daily cycle and the discount?
Okay, think of it like Bitcoin, right? How are you able to get Bitcoin? You have to mine it, right?
Yeah.
And then when you mine it, you're paying for electricity and, you have your costs related to it, right? But there's always a certain portion of amount of Bitcoin that's given out each day, right? Throughout its lifetime. So it's the same kind of concept, but what we've said is that we want the tokens to be fairly distributed over the next 200 years. Okay? And we want it in a way where it's more of like an auction. So if you look at it, it's very similar to how EOS did it and Hex, where they had lobbies where you could actually provide ETH, and then the more ETH, basically the amount of distributed tokens at the end is determined based on how much people actually contributed, right? So if there's less participants, you get more of a discount. If there's more participants, then you get less of a discount, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's similar to that, but instead of you could say the ETH going to the team or the founders or in that way, it's actually being used to actually buy and burn the actual token, right? Majority of it, and actually gives out yield on the end of the cycle. Whoever decided to actually lock that XNF for a year. And at the same time, this entire thing feeds into the swapping aspect, because now you have an ability to pay a fee, which could actually earn you something which could be more valuable at the end of that year, compared to not paying, like giving a free out to, like giving that 0.5% fee to 1inch, where you don't really gain anything at the end.
Yeah. So the auctions are a way to acquire XNF and or a position of staked XNF at a discount compared to market prices, so that way you can use that XNF immediately in some of these auctions, but in the other auctions, like the ETH auction or the swap auction, you get staked XNF, which allows you to earn ETH, Ethereum yield, or the native token of whatever chain, Ethereum or BNB, in proportion to the ecosystem's rewards for that daily cycle. Did I explain that correctly?
Correct. Like at the end of the cycle, 25% of all ETH that has been accrued gets distributed out to those that have locked the XNF and basically have VE XNF. So the distribution will be according to their power. So the more power you have, the more share of that distribution you'd receive at the end of the cycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the auctions are the only way to get XNF unless somebody goes ahead and makes their own liquidity pool for XNF and whatever tokens. But through the protocol in this ecosystem, really the only way to get XNF is through the auctions. And that does include the swap auction, which is voluntary. You can volunteer to participate in that or not. And if you do, you get a staked position of XNF for a year. And depending on your V XNF power, you get, if you have a higher power, you get a higher proportion of the rewards. If you let your power dwindle, you get less and less of the rewards. But if you let that whole year-long lock expire, you get to unlock and burn your NFT to get a bunch of XNF tokens to do with as you please. And if you want XNF immediately, there are two auctions that you can do that, the YSL auction and the V Zen auction. Is that right?
Correct. So to get tradable and liquid XNF, the only way to do it is either buying it from a secondary liquidity pool or participating in the burn auctions. So the burn auction basically gets 50% of the daily distribution as unlocked XNF, so tradable XNF. And you can either burn VZen or you can burn YSL in order to participate in that burn auction.
Okay, so if I want XNF immediately, because I'm looking at this chart and I'm chomping at the bits to get some of this because I want a 5x. Who doesn't? And if this chart keeps going like this, who knows what could happen? And if BNB Smart Chain launches in 3 days with a similar chart, I want to get in on that. Let's say my option for getting immediate XNF currently is through the YSL auction or the VZen auction. And these two auctions give you a portion of half of the daily distributions of XNF for each daily cycle. And every day, I think 20,000 XNF are released and distributed. Is that correct? Currently, correct. I mean, in this current halvening cycle, it's 20,000 XNF released a day, right?
Yeah. So in the first 90 days, 20,000 is distributed each day. Now on Arbitrum, 50% of it will be distributed as locked XNF, right? And the other remaining 50% will be distributed as unlocked, which actually means that those that actually burn in the burn auctions get that share of that 50%. Whereas the locked portion is given out to those that just contribute ETH, right? Or those that swap. So they will get the locked position. So, and yeah.
I noticed this, and you pointed this out earlier. This gauge, these gauges on the UI, the user interface, show that the ETH auction and the swap auction have a 0.1x discount. That it's a 10% to the market value. So you're getting a 90% discount or something on those compared to the YSL and VZen auctions, which are 0.6x. So the time-based factor here, if you wait longer, you get a bigger discount if you're willing to do the staked XNF position, right?
Yeah, let's put it in an example, right? So we know that 20,000 is distributed. Half of it is locked, half of it is unlocked, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that you're the only one in the cycle that performed the swap and paid the fee. No one else did it, right? It would basically mean that you would get back 1,000 VE XNF at the end of the cycle because 5% is distributed for the swap auction. So if you're the only one that's paying the fee, then you'll get the entire 1,000 VE XNF. So imagine paying a fee of like $10, right? And getting 1,000 VE XNF.
Yeah.
So it's based on like an auction, really, right? So the more fees that the protocol receives, right, the less share you would receive on that auction. But if there's less right now, like you pointed out, right, there's not much swaps happening, right? So it means it gives you a chance to perform swaps so that you can get a huge amount of VEXNet, right? That can actually earn you ETH. Because think of it this way, that the cost of that 1,000 VEXNet, right, at $3, that's $3,000.
Yeah. That's
being distributed. And even though you're paying a fee of like $10, $20, you already multiple your returns just by receiving that share of that. So that's why, we're looking in the way I see it is that over time, if you was to wait out your position, right, for a year, you're probably going to get way, way, way more back, right, from what you initially paid in fees.
Yeah, and especially this early, it seems like where the rewards are at 20,000 XNF a day. So I always tell my audience, if you are going to participate in a DeFi project, generally the best strategy is to get in early, especially if it's something that you're relatively certain isn't going to rug pull or anything like that. Getting in early usually gets you the highest rewards. So first mover advantage is a real thing in crypto. Okay, that's good to know. Also, one other thing, there is a timer here for the daily cycle, and it says next distribution in about 22 hours. Does this timer affect the discounts here on these gauges?
So when you participate in the auctions, excluding the swap auction. Swap auction, there's no discounts. So it's just based on the amount of fees, right, collected during the cycle.
Okay.
If, like, for example, for the other type of auction, so the ETH auction, the VZen auction, the YSL auction, right? They're based on batches. The way to look at it is that one batch equates to a certain amount of tokens, right? And a certain amount of burn fees. Let's just take the burn auction, right? So one batch equates to, let's say, 10 million VZen. And then you have to pay a burn fee on top of that of 0.01 ETH. Okay. Now, the more batches you burn, the bigger the discount will be. Okay. So if you was to perform, the burning in the first hour, you would get a 50% discount. Now, if you was to perform 10,000 batches within the first hour, not only will you get the 50% discount, but you'll also get a further discount on that, which makes it up to 75%.
Okay.
So the way it works is the more batches you obtain during a cycle, the more share you get of the distribution. So it doesn't really matter whether you burn YSL or you burn VZen. It's all based on batches. And it basically means if you was to burn, either of those two tokens and you were able to get a majority of the batches, right? The total batches, then you will have a significant share of that allocation. So it's think of it like this way. If I was to burn one batch and you was to burn one batch, that means you would get 50%, I would get 50% of the daily distribution.
And would that be today's reward
at the end of
so would that be 5,000 XNF each? If you and I were the only ones who did the YSL auction and VZen auction. Say I did YSL and you did VZen, and I did one batch and you did one batch, and for some reason nobody else did any other batches. We would get 50% of the total daily distributions split between the two of us evenly. So I would get 5,000 XNF tokens and you would get 5,000 XNF tokens that day, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. All right, that's cool. I'm going to be watching this like a hawk to see if so potentially if you're strategic about it and you notice like one day there's not much auction action for some reason, you could potentially get a fat stack of XNF for a small amount of value you put in, correct?
Just remember that 5 days ago, that 5,000 was worth 5,000, right? But today's value, that 5,000 now is worth 15,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
As the price goes up, as the liquidity grows, the value of those tokens being distributed increases, which therefore means that you'll get way more participants coming in because the value that you're distributing out is increasing at the same pace as the liquidity and the price, which means that the inflow of ETH coming into the auctions would increase, therefore creating more yield at the end for those that lock XNF. Because remember, 25% gets distributed.
I think that's an important thing we should cover. This is not, there's a fee here. So if I wanted to stake just one batch of YSL, which is 0.01 YSL, I think YSL is like $2 or $4 or something right now. So I could put in just a couple bucks, and if I put in $5 here, would I just pay $5, or is there a batch fee?
We call it the burn fee. So for you to burn that YSL, you have to pay a fee in ETH. So the way you can look at it is that you're burning 0.01 YSL and you're providing a burn fee, which is adding you into the auction, right? So that means you have your one batch in the auction. And then at the end of the auction, you'll be distributed XNF tokens, right? That has probably more value.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can actually stake that XNF to actually now earn you ETH on the following cycles. So yeah, we have a burn fee and we have a native fee. So the burn fee is for the burn auctions. That means if you burn YSL, if you burn VZen, that's considered as a burn fee. For the ETH auction, it's more of like, we call it the native fee. So it's kind of like if you want to, a more easier way to participate and you don't mind waiting a year at the end, right? And you just want to earn ETH every day, right? Then I would say to go into the ETH auction because it's one, it has 45% of the distribution, right? And it also provides you with VE-XNF at the end instead of XNF. So you can actually start earning ETH on the following cycles once you've claimed it. And also,
does the
you're
ETH
only paying,
auction have a burn fee? Does the ETH auction also have the same burn fee as the YSL or X?
So think of it, So think of it this way: the ETH auction is just like paying a burn fee, but not burning a token. So you're only paying like the fee. That's it to participate for that one batch. So one batch, think of it this way: if you burn one batch of YSL, you need first to provide 0.01 YSL, and you would have to provide 0.01 ETH as a burn fee. But if you was to participate in the ETH auction, you just have to provide 0.01 for that one batch.
I see. Okay.
But the downside is it's locked.
Right. And the discount here, though, where because of the timing in the daily cycle, since we're still early to the auctions, we have a 45% off right now. So does that mean this if let's say I did a YSL batch, just one of them, I just put in a tiny amount of YSL, and I would normally, if there's no discount, I would pay 0.01 ETH as that burn fee to enter into the auction. But
you get the fee, so it'd be half of that.
Okay, so it'd be like 0.005.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so I think I understand now. So if I'm watching these discounts up here on the gauges, I'm trying to get the best discount I can. And so I'm watching the clock to try to get into the daily cycle as early as possible for these auctions where I can get the max. The first hour gets the max discount.
So the first hour, everyone gets 50% off. That's because so there's two types of discounts, right? So there's the time coefficient and there's the batch coefficient. So the time coefficient just means that if you was to participate in the first hour, you get 50% off. If you participate in the last hour, you get close to 0%, right?
Oh, okay.
The batch discount is basically means that if you was to purchase more batches, you can further that discount. So that means if you go up to the maximum of 10,000 batches, you would get a discount of 75% in the first hour.
In the first hour.
Yeah.
And since it's the second hour right now, so it's a 70% discount. But if I wanted to get the best deal, that first hour, I would get a full 75% off if I did 10,000 batches. And that would, each batch, I would pay the burn fee of 0.01 ETH. And then I would multiply it by that 75% discount.
Yeah, then you add the discount to it.
Okay. Now, that ETH that you guys get, so this ETH fee, the burn fee, what happens to this fee? How does this 0.01 ETH times whatever discount you get, how does that benefit the Xenify ecosystem and participants here?
Okay, so the first thing it would do is 70% of that fee occurred in ETH is actually used to buy and burn XNF tokens, which means that whenever you participate by either burning VZen or YSL, or providing ETH in the ETH auction, or providing a fee from swapping, right? Whenever you do those actions, you're creating scarcity, because what's actually happening is that 70% of that is being used to buy and burn XNF from the protocol own liquidity pool, basically removing those tokens out of circulation forever, right?
Okay.
Permanently. And then when you do sell into that, those tokens are like, basically, yes, it's in the liquidity pool, but eventually they'll be burnt out of existence by the protocol.
So, okay, let me see if I understand this. So, those burn fees for participating in the auctions, 70% of them go towards the buyback and burn process here. And that buyback and burn process, I'm assuming by the auction contract, is that the only function anywhere that can put XNF tokens, or is that the only thing that can basically take XNF tokens out of the liquidity pool that's protocol owned? So you said
right
the XNF tokens, right?
The protocol is the only one that can burn burn the tokens. So
those XNF tokens, if the XNF tokens get trapped in that liquidity pool, they cannot get out of there unless the buyback and burn process from the actual protocol itself swaps out those XNF tokens, puts in fresh ETH, and then burns the XNF tokens forever. That's the only way XNF tokens are coming out of that liquidity pool.
Correct.
So people are putting XNF tokens in there. So XNF tokens are going in there and they're never coming out, right?
Yeah,
unless they're getting burned.
Way. When you sell your XNF, you have to think, because when you sell into that protocol on liquidity, it can only happen once. It cannot happen. That XNF can never be sold again.
It's out of it's out of circulation forever. It's
like a black hole, right?
Okay.
You by you selling, you get your ETH, but at the same time, that XNF is forever gone out of circulation, and it will eventually be burned by the protocol, right, out of existence, because of this the buyback and burning mechanics that are put in place.
I think that's a really cool mechanism there to automatically manage the liquidity pool here without the intervention of any human, essentially. This is all automated and immutable through the contracts. And there are no ownership functions, so you guys can't do anything manually here. It's all automated, right?
So the contracts were deployed immutable. That means when we deployed the contracts, they were entirely designed to run by itself, meaning there is no one that can control the contracts. We can't set anything in the contracts. Once deployed, it is supposed to run how it was coded to do. So basically, and that's why even when creating that protocol on liquidity pool on Uniswap V3, it was something that has never possibly been, I don't think any project has done it in a way where it's immutable, where there's no upgradability if something goes wrong. We did a lot of testing. The way we approached it was like, we had to even test on the internal mainnet between, the team. Like we actually had to do multiple tests to make sure that the liquidity actually gets added onto, Uniswap V3, because it's something that's never been done before, and given that it's immutable, and if something goes wrong, we won't be able to change anything, right? Then you would have a ton of ETH that's just lying on the contract and you can't, be deposited into the pool. So there was a lot of testing that went through this. But the main objective was to make everything run by itself, no admin keys, no upgradability, immutable, based on first principles when it comes to the token distribution, fairly distributed out over 200 years, and build scarcity within the protocol itself based on users' actions. Some people say, okay, I'm going to sell XNF, and that's can be viewed as a bad thing, right? If you sell a token. But in this case, you're creating scarcity. If you choose to sell XNF, you're actually helping the protocol remove XNF tokens from circulation forever. And there's only so much XNF that can ever be minted. The supply is very similar to Bitcoin.
And I just want to point out also that you guys have 2 audits, one from Solid Proof and one from Peck Shield, which is even more thorough in my opinion. And from what we've discussed here, I read through both of your audits, and they both determined that you guys had great smart contracts that were well engineered, and you guys resolved any of the issues they found. So for immutable contracts that are out there, you can't upgrade them. They're out there for good. You guys got multiple audits on these smart contracts because you set them off into the wild and they're out there now doing their thing. You guys can't mess with them. And it's good you guys got 2 audits on them. Go check them out. They're all posted on their website. You can read through them. They're good audits, in my opinion.
Yeah, the audits actually ran for 60 days. What actually happened was they did 2 rounds of audits. So we actually paid extra so that not only did 3 people look at it on the first round, but they got another 3 people to look at it on the second round. So I would say we had around 12 people look through the contracts individually from 2 different auditing firms, basically, Peck Shield and Solid Proof.
Yeah. And I think that's really great, especially for a more complicated ecosystem like this, where you have multiple complicated smart contracts all doing different things. I think it's a good idea. So yeah, check out these smart contracts, guys, if you're watching this part. I'm scrolling through them, and you can see they fixed any of the issues they found. The issues they found were minor for the most part. There was nothing really severe, and anything that was found, they resolved. And these are really great audits. So it makes me feel good when I see stuff like that, especially when you guys go out of your way to try to take the centralization out of this to make this immutable and trustless and basically set this thing off in the wild to do its thing. It reduces centralization risks for end users like myself.
Yeah. So right now it's like really based on participation. What you're seeing right now is participation happening. And over time, that liquidity is growing and the price is increasing and the scarcity is increasing. It's actually everything flowing into one. And I believe that over time, that's where the value creation is when it comes to swapping. Because imagine now you could get like 10 XNF tokens, right? And you only paid like $2 in fees or, $5 in fees, and you have it. And now it's worth, let's say, $30. But what if in a year XNF's price is $100?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that value is, almost 300, and you have a liquidity pool in the millions, not hundreds of thousands. Because, because the market we're targeting, we have the Xenians, there's thousands of Xenians across different chains. We call it, basically Xenians is Zen holders, right? If you're not familiar, it's referred to Xenian. So we have many Xenians from different chains. And one part that we kind of made it easier for them to participate is by introducing VZen, right? Because VZen can basically connect all the chains using layer 0, right? Xla and Wormhole. And this is done immutably, burning from one chain and minting on another chain. So that means you could burn your Zen on, let's say, Optimism, OP Zen, and you can mint VZen on Arbitrum to participate. And you can even bridge that VZen back to, let's say, Binance Smart Chain on Friday and say, okay, I'm going to burn my VZen on the BNB chain, right, to participate there. So we actually are trying to unify the Zen chains, you could say, with VZen. And it actually helps because when you burn your Zen, you actually get added into a burn record. I'm not sure whether your audience are aware of this, but Jack, the creator of Zen, he's actually creating his own blockchain called X1. So for you to actually get the native token on X1, you could do that by just burning your Zen. And you get added into a burn record, which would then airdrop you that chain's native token. So it's actually pretty cool, you know, because if you participate with Zen, not only do you get added to the burn record on the Zen contract.
No way.
Yeah. And
really?
Then you also, yeah, because when you get VZen, you're burning Zen, right? To get VZen.
So you're getting credit for that in the burn record for X1 blockchain?
Yeah. Jack's.
Okay. Say that again, because that's very important, and my astonishment cut you off. Say that again. What are the benefits of burning VZen if you are a Zen holder? Or what are the benefits of burning any Zen type token that you have through Xenify? What are the dual benefits you just said?
Okay, so the first benefit is if you burn, let's say, OP Zen, right? This is the Zen version on Optimism. If you burn that for VZen, you can either mint it on Optimism or you can mint it directly on Arbitrum, right? Because we use Layer 0, Exla, and Wormhole. So if you was to do that, then 100% of that Zen, right, gets burnt, right? And when it does get burnt, you get added, your address gets added onto the burn record on the Zen contract. Now, in the future, probably in a few months' time, Jack, the creator of Zen, will be launching an X1 blockchain, which is going to be using, it's going to be something which is very, very different because it'll be connecting proof of work and EVM, and it will have speeds comparable to Solana. So it's going to be pretty crazy. Yeah. And you'll be basically getting an allocation, right, into their native token, right? Just like how Pulse Chain had PLS, right?
Right.
You're getting an allocation of that by doing this action.
And I have friends who made a ton of money on that Pulse Chain setup there.
Yeah. So once you have your VZen, now if you burn it in our burn auction, you'll be getting XNF. So not only do you benefit from getting added to the burn record, but you also get an allocation of XNF by participating in our burn auction. And the beauty is that VZen can be bridged between 9 chains, which means in the future, if you go to Ethereum, you can always bridge that VZen, you know, to participate in other ways, basically. So if you go to Binance Smart Chain on Friday, right, you can easily bridge that VZen to the BNB chain and then participate there with it.
Very cool. So,
and this is all done through the UI. So it's quite simple. On the swap page, you just select the Zen token that you want to burn, which chain, and then you just put the receiving as VZen, and then you just select Xenify as a route, and it will do it.
Okay. That is awesome. So whatever chain that you have Zen or a Zen equivalent on, you can swap that through the Xenify swap page to VZen, and then you can take that VZen and use that to participate in the VZen auction on Xenify, to get immediate XNF tokens.
Correct. That would have a ton of value over time. Because remember,
and in doing so, you're burning your Zen or Zen equivalent tokens and getting on the official burn record list for the X1 blockchain launch, which means you're going to be getting, your wallet will have that native token on X1 whenever they do those distributions. You will be on that record. So it's like it's double dipping. I love it, man.
Yeah.
My head is spinning right now.
Yeah, that's the beauty, right? Like that's one added advantage of you burning VZen, is that one, you get added to the burn record, and two, you're getting XNF tokens by participating.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. So, like, I'm looking at the XNF token, and in the time we've been talking tonight, it's gone up almost $1. And like, we started talking, it was $2.50, and now it's at about $3.40. This thing's flying right now on Arbitrum, the XNF token. So I'm just sitting here like, man, the whole time we're talking, I'm like, how do I get XNF tokens real quick? Because I want to make a quick flip. And the way to do that, the best way is to either buy YSL tokens or buy mint Zen tokens and then convert them to VZen and burn them to participate in the auction, and to participate in those auctions where I get immediate XNF tokens that I could potentially sell here and make, quick gains, in my opinion. If I was fast enough, I would have to contribute 0.01 ETH times whatever discount I can get, 50 to 75% off potentially. So maybe I'm paying $10 per batch. So if I've got 10 million Zen, or 10 million VZen, and that's one batch of VZen, and each batch, let's say I'm getting a 50% discount, and the burn fee's $22. If I'm getting a 50% discount, I'm paying like $10, $11 for that 10 million VZen to participate, 50% of the XNF tokens. So let's say those 5,000 XNF tokens that are going to the VZen auction participants. Let's say let's say me and just a couple other people participate that day. I might end up with 1,000 XNF tokens the next day, and I only put in $10 at ETH, and I don't know, not much Zen tokens, and potentially getting like $3,000 worth in that crazy situation. Obviously, more people are participating because this thing's hot right now. But I'm just trying to point out, like, the strategy, and there's so many the game theory here is crazy. Like, if I wanted to go the YSL route, maybe YSL's $2 to $4 a token, but one batch is 0.01 YSL. So maybe at the current discount rate, maybe I'm paying 50% off that $22. So maybe I'm putting in $10 again, $10, $11 for each 0.01 YSL. So I'm contributing Ethereum, or if this goes to BNB Smart Chain, BNB in that case, the native token, and that's getting then distributed to all the XNF power holders, the guys and gals who are staking for a year and earning the native token every day as rewards. Well, that's where those native token rewards are, a significant portion of them are coming from these auction fees. Is that right? I mean, that and the buying and burning of XNF. So those auction fees, what's the distribution? You said 70% of the auction fees go towards buyback and burn of XNF tokens. Where did the other 30%, where does it go to?
Okay, 70% goes towards buyback and burns. Okay. After that, 25% is distributed as ETH yields at the end of every cycle. So that means if we get 100 ETH, right, in the first cycle, that means you could say 25 ETH will be distributed out to those that lock XNF based on their power. So you could probably ROI really fast just by your lock position, right? You could just get a ton of ETH coming in each day based on the auction and the amount of ETH that has been collected by the protocol. The 5% actually goes towards development, and that's how the distribution kind of works. So 70% buyback and burn, 25% ETH rewards, and 5% towards the development of.
Good to know. So and I'm guessing the development is like the team wallet that you guys pay all your operational expenses, development, marketing, audits, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So 70% of those auction burn fees go to buyback and burn. 25% go as rewards to the XNF holders. So basically the XNF stakers, they get 25% of all of those fees, which could be significant, right? So if I'm a Zen whale and I've got billions of Zen tokens or something, or VZen equivalent, and 10 million VZen is a batch, let's say I want to do 10,000 batches. Let's just say I want to go, balls to the walls on this thing. So let's say 10,000 times 0.01 ETH, which is, I don't know, let's just say $10 for easy math. So that's $100,000 in ETH fees. If I wanted to go all out on that, if I had 10,000 batches of VZen right now, but I would probably get that 50% discount. So it'd be $50,000.
Actually, 75. 10,000 batches would probably get you 75% discount in the first time.
That's true. So it'd probably be $25,000 in ETH burn fees, which go to the buyback and burn. So, and if I were to do that, because I wanted to get XNF, that would be a massive green candle on the XNF chart. Is that right?
Yeah. And to be, there is certain projects, I can't really mention the names, but there are projects right now that are pulling in, minimum of 1,000 ETH a day on Ethereum.
Yeah.
And right now, if we was to get that, it would make the price go parabolic. Let's just put it that way. I mean, 700 ETH buyback and burn. That would be insane.
I think I saw in a video that you guys did, it was a testnet simulation.
Yeah.
A couple months ago.
We did a lot of testing. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did a lot of testing.
Yeah.
And what could you explain to me, you guys did a scenario where it's okay, if 200 ETH or whatever it was went into this, what happened?
Yeah.
1,000 ETH. So if 1,000 ETH went into XNF in this manner, what would that do to the price of XNF in whatever time period?
Okay, so the price would be over $200, and we're in a month. And also there would be multiple millions in liquidity by the protocol. But the thing is also, you have to remember that would have paid out 250 ETH in rewards.
Yeah. So some people would be
they would have
making a lot of money.
Yeah.
They would have ROI'd multiple times just on the native token rewards in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the beauty is that for BNB chain, we're going to do it slightly different, more of an aggressive push, you could say. So it would be probably 5 to 10 times what you see right now in Arbitrum. Because what we're doing is we're going to start not with 100,000, LP side, but a 20,000 LP side, which means everyone is going to ROI probably on day one, and they can immediately lock that XNF to start earning from the next days, all the ETH not ETH, but BNB that's going to be coming in from the following cycles. And the price is going to go up more aggressive compared to Arbitrum because it has less XNF.
So let me see if I understood that.
Yeah, if you look now on Arbitrum, we've already burnt 50% of the LP in 5 days.
Right. Yeah.
So
Let me see if I
imagine BNB chain.
Oh, yeah. So let me see if I understand this correctly. So you are going to use this same setup on BNB chain, but you're going to modify it to be more volatile to potentially take advantage of more upside potential. And by doing that, how you're going to do that is by, instead of starting with $100,000 of the blue chip token in the LP pair, you're going to put a smaller amount, $20,000, and that's going to create a much more volatile potential upswing.
20,000 XNF. So it'd be BXNF in this case. So it'd be only 20,000 BXNF that will be paired with the BNB that's collected in the first cycle.
Okay. 20,000 BXNF paired with whatever BNB is collected in the first cycle. I see. All right, and that's how you guys did it here. That's why this first cycle went up to about $1.
With 100,000. Okay. I think 50,000 came in on the first cycle, and it got paired to create 100,000 liquidity at the start. But so I think for
So okay, so if you guys on Arbitrum had $50,000 come in on the first cycle, let's just say on BNB the same thing happened, but you've got $20,000 on the XNF side of things. That means you'd probably see double the price appreciation to go, instead of going up to $1, go up to probably $2 or more, right off the bat.
It probably would go up. Yeah, I would say it could go up to 3-4x immediately from the following cycle.
And BNB's bigger,
more aggressive. Yeah,
and BNB's bigger. There's much more volume there. There's
more swap volume. In fact,
more
most
users.
Of our holders, our users, most of them were from the BNB chain. Like they were in Elephant Money. Like there are Zenians that were in Elephant Money. We have also, because when we did launch, we initially wanted to go on BNB chain first. So we had a ton of swap volume, participating in the airdrop that we had a few months back. And we kind of realized like there's a ton of people that are, massive on the BNB chain, Yeah. So I think BNB chain might outperform Arbitrum, but the thing is, we look at Arbitrum more of like a stable asset, in the sense that it's less volatile and it's our main ticker. That means XNF is on CoinGecko, and it will be the main token for the protocol. So I believe over time it's going to just keep increasing slowly and slowly and slowly. BNB is going to be more of an aggressive, more volatile, more, you could say, degen play, but rewarding, and taking the same principles from Arbitrum, but adjusting it slightly by reducing the initial liquidity to make it really the price to go parabolic. And that at the same time would bring in more participants, right? And then also reducing the amount of liquid XNF for BNB chain. Because right now, I think on Arbitrum is 50%, right? That's given towards the burn auction. On BNB chain, it will be only 25%. And there will be 75% that is locked, which means there's less liquid XNF on the BNB chain that can be sold.
Nice.
But at the same time, the price can fly up faster.
So,
and the value will increase. So
if I understand that correctly, you're going to take the amount of rewards from the immediate auctions, the YSL auction and the VZen auctions, and of all the daily distributions, only 25% instead of 50% will be going to the immediate auctions to prevent even more immediate sell pressure that could potentially happen, and it's going to be doing 75% of the daily distributions to the long-term auctions, the ETH or the BNB auction and the swap auction, which will more encourage people to swap with that option on to stack VXNF.
The swap auction is 5%. So majority,
5%.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 70% will be given to just providing BNB. In other words. Yeah.
And that's going to cause more buy and hold pressure. It's going to cause more people to lock up their tokens for a year long to get, because they're going to be getting those BNB rewards, and that the BXNF token is going to be locked in those NFTs, and then the immediate XNF, or in this case BXNF on the Binance Smart Chain, those will be only 25% of the daily distributions. So if we have 20,000 total tokens distributed each day, only 5,000 would go to the YSL and the VZen auctions. So people, the giant BNB whales, couldn't just come in with a ton of Zen and YSL or something and a ton of BNB and get an unfair advantage, or cause any significant sell pressure. Is that the right idea?
The idea is, I don't think many would sell, because we have even more game theory when it comes to the Ethereum chain, where you can we're introducing, you could say, VXNF. Just the same way we have VZen, there will be a VXNF, where you can actually burn your XNF for VXNF. And that will be, you could think of the burn token on Ethereum.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of people wouldn't even, one, it's hard to even get XNF. Two, if you want to go into the biggest auction, the biggest chain, where we can get a ton of ETH entering, that will be the burn auction on that chain. It's going to be VXNF. And that's one reason why you would want to hold your XNF on either BXNF or XNF, to basically burn it for this VXNF, similar to VZen, right? But that will be the auction token on Ethereum. So that's
just
another.
To put it simply, perhaps, to make it easy for newer users, since it's a lot of VB, right? To participate, in the ETH auction, there won't be like a VZen auction or YSL auction as you see now on Arbitrum, or how it will be on BNB chain, right? So how you can participate, it's only by already having basically participated in Arbitrum or BNB chain, right? Yeah.
Or you could
exactly.
Yeah. So think
or
of it
contribute,
like
Ethereum, exactly. If you don't have that, it's still the door open for you. You can contribute ETH or swap, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
that makes sense. So if I'm stacking XNF on Arbitrum and BNB Smart Chain, and then you guys launch on Ethereum, I could potentially do a burn version of XNF. I could burn my XNF to get that position into a ETH auction to earn it over there. Is that right?
Yeah. So you can actually burn your XNF for VXNF and participate in the burn auctions on Ethereum, that's the token that you would need.
I see. And that way I could potentially get another first mover advantage and kind of follow you guys over there if I think you're going to have a crazy blow off start like I'm seeing right now on Arbitrum. And if I want to do that again on Ethereum, and I've got all this XNF now, I could potentially follow you guys and do that over there. Cool.
Yeah. I think of it like Ethereum will pull up the other two chains, because as we know, there's a ton of Ethereum whales that would participate. And they most likely will be pushing up the scarcity from two of these chains, because to participate, you need VXNF, right? So the only way you can realistically get it is either by buying it from a secondary liquidity pool, right? Or actually participating in the auctions. So, and which actually does buyback and burns of 70%. So there's also that part that we never really covered was like, when you actually receive these native rewards, for example, BNB or ETH, you actually have two options. Either you can claim that ETH rewards or BNB, or you could actually recycle it, right? Now, if you claim those ETH rewards, you're actually paying a 25% claim fee. Okay. However, that claim fee doesn't go to the team or, that leaves the protocol. It actually gets redistributed back to those that recycle in the first hour. So that means if you was to recycle your ETH in the first hour of a cycle, you would basically get a share of that 25% fee from those that claim out during the cycle. So that means, let's put it in an example, right? Say you were the only one to recycle $1,000 in the first hour, and let's say 100,000 was claimed out during that cycle. It just means that you would receive $25,000 at the end, paid out in ETH.
Wow.
Now, by you recycling that ETH, what you're doing is you're just saying to the protocol, okay, please recycle my ETH back into the burn auction. So you're actually paying the burn fee, performing a 70% buyback and burn, right, on that burn fee. And at the end of the cycle, you're receiving XNF tokens. And you're also earning a share of that claim fee. So that means you're earning more ETH back at the end of the cycle, right? Mm-hmm. Now, how the protocol actually benefits is one, it's already done the buyback, right? And burning of 70% based on your burn fee that you recycled. However, if you're doing it in the first hour, means that there's a 50% discount, right? So the protocol actually benefits from the discount because 90% of that discount is used to further buy and burn XNF. So by you recycling, you're actually amplifying the buying and burning process because it's now not 70%, it's far greater. Because a lot of your rewards that you recycle is actually going towards buying and burning the token, which is further increasing the scarcity.
So my staked XNF would become more valuable in that situation if I'm recycling my native token rewards.
And you're getting XNF tokens. So we
okay. And so if I recycle my native token rewards, would that create a new NFT for me? A new VE XNF?
So when you recycle your ETH, you're actually earning XNF at the end of the cycle. Because your fee, that ETH, so what actually happens is the protocol first checks how much ETH you have. It then determines the optimal number of batches you can enter into, right? And then it uses that batch number and adds your burn fee into the burn auction. So now you're recycling your ETH and getting a certain number of batches, right? And you're not needing to burn a token. But at the end of the cycle, you're getting XNF tokens back.
So that would be a way to participate in the ETH auction to get immediate XNF in the next daily cycle. The next day or whatever, at the end of the cycle.
Yeah, think of it this way. If you want to get XNF tokens, right, you have to burn, right, VZen or YSL.
Yeah.
But if you recycle your ETH, you don't need to burn any of those two tokens because your ETH is just covering the burn fee. Now, if you do it in the first hour, you benefit because you get 25% from those that claim throughout the cycle, the ETH. And
so this
protocol benefits.
So this is a way to be able to get immediate XNF without YSL, without VZen. If I just have, let's say I just have ETH, I did the ETH auction, and it puts me into the XNF
if you
NFT.
if you do the ETH auction,
and it puts me into the XNF NFT. But then the next day, let's say I have ETH rewards accumulated to claim. Now, instead of claiming them, I could potentially get immediate XNF tokens by recycling my rewards. I would recycle my rewards. I would get 25. I would get part of the claiming fees for that cycle. And then I would also get XNF tokens immediately, correct?
At the end of the cycle, based on your share of batches in the burn auction.
So within 24 hours approximately.
Yeah, because you're entering yourself in the burn auction. You're saying, okay, I have this much ETH. How much batches can I get for this ETH? This is what you're telling the protocol. And the protocol says, oh, you can get this much, right? Then it puts you into the burn auction based on that batches. And your fee, your burn fee, is being used towards the distribution that we discussed before. 70% buyback and burn, 25% yield, and 5% development. And then the discount part, because remember, there's a 50% discount, right? If you participate in the first hour. Now the protocol benefits from that 50% because 90% of it goes towards buying and burning XNF tokens, therefore creating an immense amount of scarcity further than those that just participate, right? So by you recycling, you're amplifying the buying and burning of XNF.
While receiving XNF immediately.
At the end of the cycle.
Yeah, so like 24 hours later. And that's just using ETH. I'm not touching YSL. I'm not touching...
Yeah, that's how you
VZ.
can get in. Yeah, that's how you can participate without needing those two tokens. Yes.
Okay, so I would have to initially lock up my XNF tokens to my initial ETH auction. But those rewards from my locked position can be used to get XNF tokens within a 24-hour period approximately.
Correct.
Cool. So, okay, that's very interesting. So if I'm trying to stack XNF, because say I want to speculate on XNF, say I want to, get XNF as soon as possible and I have a ton of ETH, I could lock up a bunch of XNF, get a big VE XNF position locked for a year, keep the power on that strong so I'm getting the most amount of Ethereum rewards. And instead of claiming those rewards, if I recycle them, I get 25% of the claim fees from other people, split among whoever else recycles. So I get a portion of all the claim fees as Ethereum. And then I also get a portion of my recycled rewards as immediate XNF tokens the next cycle, the next day or whatever. So then the next day I've got... So next day I've got XNF tokens and I've got some Ethereum and my position is printing more rewards and the cycle continues.
Yeah, and the cycle continues.
Cool. I like it, so man. It's interesting.
Because a lot of people, I can see, once they burn, they always figure out, okay, how can I put myself back into the burn auction, right? Or how can I participate again? And instead of you claiming your ETH, going and buying a certain portion of VZen and YSL, and then using the other portion to burn, right, to cover the burn fee. This way, the protocol does it for you in one click, basically, without needing to burn any token.
And if you do it within that first hour,
you get the 25%.
You can get the 25% claim fees from everybody else, and then you also get you put that discount that would be put onto the burn fees, and that gets put towards additional buyback and burns, which exacerbates the potential price appreciation of the XNF token. Like we're seeing here, this chart is crazy, you guys. What is this? This is beautiful.
It will be... it's interesting because you're seeing it you're seeing it in real time, how it's playing out. The liquidity started with 100,000 and today we're at 300,000 within 5 days.
Right. And that's on Arbitrum, which is not, this is not BNB Smart Chain yet. This is not Ethereum yet. This is on Arbitrum.
Yeah.
So BNB Smart Chain is coming in 3 days. I can only imagine what that chart is going to do in the first 5 days. Okay, now I think I have a really good understanding of how to kind of play this thing based on my different strategies and how my participation and engagement in this system contributes to the health of the XNF token and liquidity. So with all that kind of, I have a good understanding now, I think, of how to do this. What about the sustainability of this system in your simulations, in your estimates and projections? Let's take Arbitrum for instance. You guys are right now distributing 20,000 XNF tokens per day. And then you also had an airdrop event a few months ago, which I think 2,000 per day are being distributed for that for just a couple more, like another month or month and a half or something. So let's say 22,000 right now for the next 2 months, tokens are coming into existence.
Yeah.
And the pooled XNF right now is like 50,000. Now, obviously, people aren't going to be able to get their hands on that XNF immediately because of all the systems you've set up here. So could this chart continue like this forever? Or what do you think realistically is going to happen, let's say, over the next month or 2 or 3? What do you think could potentially happen?
Okay, so firstly, XNF's token, it has a max cap of 22,600,000, right? Very similar to Bitcoin. There was an airdrop event that happened 2 months ago, and there is 1.5 million tokens that were distributed. Now, these tokens are locked, and only 2,000 XNF is distributed each day for the next 730 days. Okay. So, one, when it comes to scarcity, we have an aggressive halvening approach. Okay. So the first halvening actually happens in 90 days from launch, which basically means the 20,000 that's distributed each day gets dropped to half, which means it goes from 20,000 to 10,000 a day. The second halvening happens 6 months after that, where the rewards will drop from 10,000 to 5,000. And then from that point, we have another halving 12 months later from that 6 months. 12 months later, there'll be a third halvening where it go from 5,000 to 2,500 a day. And then from 12 months, the next halving after that will be 24 months, and then 4 years, and then it'll be 4 yearly halvenings after that, until it reaches a fixed amount of 156 XNF that will be distributed throughout the next 200 years, right?
Okay.
So there is a lot of halvenings that are coming out. So that's one that would help bring up the price, I would say. 2 is the buyback and burning. As we explained, a lot of the ETH occurred goes towards that. The other portion would be the one-time selling. So when users do want to sell, that XNF is permanently removed out of circulation because of the black hole we've created, which means that the protocol will eventually buy and burn and remove those tokens from existence, right? So that's another aspect towards the scarcity. And then I would say the other one would be the Ethereum launch, which will mean that users would be burning a ton of XNF tokens for VXNF tokens to participate on Ethereum. So if Ethereum does really well, if the swap volume and the participation is really good, as it would be, right? Since it's the biggest chain, right? When it comes to ETH, and within the Zen community, Ethereum is always the best. Then it would probably increase the burning of XNF or liquid XNF that's on Arbitrum and BNB chain. So that would further accelerate the scarcity. And given that there's so many halvenings in the first year, I think it's pretty doable. And I think the price can only increase over time with the liquidity. And you can see it, right? The liquidity started at 100,000. The liquidity is growing with the price. I wouldn't be surprised $10 is $1 million in liquidity.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
the way it's going.
This chart is
$100 would be 10 million.
So all those factors that you explained make a lot of sense.
Yeah, but a lot of people, they have to see the long-term view, right?
Yeah.
I see it as XNF is an appreciating asset. It has, you could say, burnamentals put into the protocol, right? With the buyback and burning. And it's designed to become scarce over time. So by you contributing ETH or by you swapping or you burning any of those two tokens to get XNF, that XNF will one day be valued at a greater amount because of these built-in features. So to me, I feel like XNF could be over $100, in a year, because it's designed to do that. And then especially we're going into a bull run, we're in that next year, right? Because of the halving of Bitcoin. I think the upside is there. The protocol is immutable. We can't change anything. We can't adjust anything. We can't remove anything, right? Whatever that has been coded is coded, right? So it's going to run forever, just like the Zen contract, It's out there in the wild, like you said, and it's designed to do what it's designed to do, in other words, which is to become scarce over time, to remove tokens when you sell permanently. And then further, when we go on to Ethereum, it's going to even accelerate that scarcity.
Awesome. And your white paper is very detailed and thorough. And I am currently showing a distribution schedule overlaid with the halving timeline. So it shows the daily distribution amount with each halving, and it shows when they cross over in about 5 years or so, and then how it goes down to that 156 XNF a day until 200 years from now. So this is a very, I think this is a well thought out distribution schedule. Daily distributions seem manageable. It doesn't seem like this is going to inflate out of control, especially since most people are going to be locking up their XNF for a year when they swap or contribute native tokens.
There's actually a lot of game theory behind that. So when you lock your XNF, right, for a year to get that full power, you're earning ETH. Like I mentioned, right, you could be making so much rewards in ETH as people, participate, right, with the protocol. And if you don't extend that lock, your earning power goes down, which is basically rewarding those that are actively extending their locks. Which means at day 60, your earning power is 0. Now you'll be waiting 10 months and not earning anything right? Just to be able to unlock XNF tokens. And at that same 10 months, that will be rewarding those that are actively locking the ETH that is coming in during the 10 months. So if people are mostly wanting to unlock, that would actually accelerate the earning power in ETH. Because now you have less people that are extending their locks and more people and a few people that are. So they will be earning a lot of ETH rewards. And that kind of encourages people to keep, extending that 1 year lock. Think of it this way. If you could get 2x in ETH from what you put in, right? Yeah. You would probably just extend your lock and continue earning ETH,
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the kind of game theory we're going with, basically, when it comes to the way it was designed with the decaying and the extension. Because we want more people to participate each day and basically reward those who are actively engaged compared to those that are like set and forget,
Right. But you never know. Maybe those set and forget, maybe their tokens, they forgot about unlock right when XNF is at like $100 a token and they just 100x or something. Like, you don't know, man. Like, there are so many strategies. That's why it's like,
the thing is, it's always early. Like, like when something which is small and then becomes into the thousands and hundreds, right, in the future, where there's so many users, thousands of users participating each day, that's when, you find a gem, right? And something that's entirely immutable, something that can't be changed once it's deployed, something that's based on first principles when it comes to fair distribution of that underlying token. I think that's where we want more projects to build towards, instead of having ownership, admin keys and distrust, I would say. So that's why Zen ecosystem projects build in this way. We build in a way where there's no admin keys, entirely immutable, trustless, fair distribution with the tokens based on participation. And I think X1, when it does launch, will have a lot of projects. I would say X1 would outperform many EVM chains because of this fact, because projects will be building in this principle on that chain.
And that does seem to be the Zen, part of the Zen ethos are those first principles that you mentioned, which are also here on your infographic, on your light paper. So that, I love it. And I love that it's bringing together the Zen community. I see a lot of the Zen influencers and other people that make YouTube videos that talk about Zen. They're talking about Xenify. I mean, I've even seen people say, is Xenify going to 100x before Zen and stuff like that? And that's very cool to me because it's a huge community. There's a lot of excitement around Zen and X1. And if Zen token, like just for instance, this past month the past week, Zen, I think, is up 30%. I can't help but think Xenify had something to do with that. I can't. I mean, this is the most exciting thing that I've seen regarding Zen in a while. And then all of a sudden, if you look at the Zen chart, at the same time you guys launched, Zen pops up 30%. Like out of nowhere. It's going sideways. And then boom, 30%. And you guys are up like, I don't know, 4 or 5x. Yeah. So
it's just the beginning, I would say.
And this is just on Arbitrum. Yeah, you guys haven't even launched on BNB chain yet.
I think the thing is, a lot of people, the way it works is first month, people try to understand the protocol. They get into it. They put maybe a small, portion in. They test it out. They figure out their strategy. And then when we deploy on a different chain, like now BNB chain, then they already have seen Arbitrum. And now they know that BNB chain is going to be more aggressive, you're reducing that initial liquidity down to 20,000 from 100,000. Now the price appreciation is going to be insane.
Yeah.
It's not going to be $1, $2, $3. It's probably going to be $10, $20, you know? And the price on every new cycle is just going to accelerate that price up, which kind of brings in more users to, you know, more BNB whales will realize that once they start seeing the liquidity going up, they'll be seeing the price going up very aggressively. And then they can look at Arbitrum and see, holy shit, this is how it works, you know?
I love that you did a proof of concept on Arbitrum first. It's cheap gas. It's reliable. And ETH is the gas token. You could see exactly how it works here in theory and in practice, and then to take the next swing on BNB Smart Chain, where there's a lot more firepower, I think is really exciting. And I love BNB Smart Chain because of that. Things, if they're done right and they get a lot of attention, they can go absolutely crazy on BNB Smart Chain. I just, you mentioned Elephant Money. I know a lot of the Elephant Money community has Zen. I know there's a lot of crossover there. So I think a lot of them are going to be excited to see something like this. And yeah, it's just really exciting stuff. I'm sitting here trying to think, like, how can I get XNF tokens?
I think
but there's
kind
no,
of
it's a fair launch. You can't even buy it off the market.
So the thing is, the way I see it is we've put it in many ways because, not many people around the world can afford even 0.01 ETH, right?
Right.
So we've even made it, even if you pay a swap fee of $1, right? You're still going to get some portion of VEXNF.
That's true.
So it kind of fits into everyone's preference, right? Like, it doesn't mean that you're stuck now and you can't participate because you can't afford the burn fee. You can even pay cents in fees, and actually get a share of VEXNF, by just doing even a Uniswap transaction on Arbitrum is quite, it's not that expensive to perform those transactions.
So you're saying the swap. So if let's say I don't have a lot of
entry, I would say it's a lower barrier to entry into the protocol.
Okay, so lowest barrier of entry. Let's say I don't have a ton of capital to throw around, but I want Zen token because I want this chart. I want to get Zen as quick as possible. So let's say on the first day you guys launch, I'm over here on Xenify. I go to the swap page, and I'm on BNB, and I do a swap between some tokens on the BNB Smart Chain.
Yep.
I get asked, hey, do you want to contribute 0.5% of towards the swap auction? I say, yeah, sure. So let's say I just converted. Let's say I used 100 BUSD to buy $100 of BUSD to buy $100 worth of BNB. I would get, let's say, 50 cents approximately worth of swap auction contributions, and that would be basically locked XNF for a year, and that locked XNF would be earning me BNB every day.
Yeah,
and I could recycle it. I could claim it. If I recycle it, I could potentially get a big win if nobody else recycles. So reuse, recycle, be responsible, and potentially get a jackpot kind of thing. I like that.
Kind of puts you back into getting XNF tokens at the lowest barrier. So, like how you said, right? You perform a swap, paid cents, 50 cents in fees, and you got VEXNF at the end. Now you're earning BNB on every following cycle, which you can recycle to earn you VEXNF.
And I can recycle it and earn, immediate XNF, or in this case, BXNF for Finance Smart Chain. Yeah. I'm just going to say XNF to keep people's minds straight. kind of on. So I do the swaps, and then I get my staked position, and instead of claiming my rewards, I recycle them, and that's how I can start getting immediate XNF to sell if I wanted to, or to do whatever. But if I didn't have a lot of capital and I wanted to start getting XNF tokens fast, I could do some swaps, and then I could do some recycling of my rewards from that. And that bolsters the whole environment here because it increases your volume. So your overall volume looks great. People are like, wow, Xenify is doing tons of volume. People really are using it. And then at the same time, people are locking.
That's why we made
up
Xenify
XNF.
free. Yeah, that's why we made Xenify free. It's not, the goal was not to charge a fee on it. The goal was to bring in users to the protocol.
Right.
When users start swapping and becoming, like, we've had some major influences, like Trevon. Do you know Trevon James? He was like in 2017, like a big influencer.
It rings a bell. I can't think of it though. It's been a while, man.
Yeah, he's like one of the big influencers during 2016, 2017. He was mainly using Uniswap. A lot of them just have Uniswap bookmarked, right?
Yeah.
But the minute he realized that you could actually perform a swap and pay a fee and earn a token that could have a ton of value down the road, he literally removed the bookmark and made Xenify his bookmark, right? Because there's no other swap that does that. Like right now, if you want to swap any token on BNB chain, you might as well do it through Xenify, because now you have this way of earning BNB on following cycles, right? Every day.
Right.
By claiming your VE XNF. And then you can even recycle it and participate and get XNF tokens that can appreciate immensely over the cycles.
Yeah. And the nice thing is you're already getting the best route and the best gas fee that you could probably find anywhere. So I could probably, especially on BNB Smart Chain, let's say I save 50 cents on gas or something from using this. Maybe that pays for that swap fee that I want to basically invest into Xenify. You guys provide me the savings, and then instead of just like taking the savings, I would basically invest it into Xenify to start building my position to then earn BNB every day and potentially XNF as well on top of it.
Yeah. So it's like any user can participate. It just depends how comfortable are you in participating with, really, right? If you're participating with maybe a smaller amount of cash, then I would say going into the swap auction and then recycling is the best way to get the native token, right, for Xenify. But if you are coming in with a decent amount of BNB and your intention is just to earn BNB on every cycle because you probably ROI really fast, right? Then I would go into the BNB auction, which is a 1-year lock where you'll be able to get BNB on every following cycle, where you probably ROI really fast if you was to do so, right? And as you know, more participation, more BNB flowing into the contract means that the price of the BNB XNF token will rise aggressively, which means that the value being distributed each day increases. If the value of tokens increases, it also means participation, and you could say the chasing of yield increases, which means more BNB will be flowing into the protocol each day in order to get a share of that tokens that are distributed. So that's why you're seeing on Arbitrum, the price keeps going up because the value of tokens being distributed is increasing. The amount being distributed today is nearly close to 60,000. That's only going to increase over time until the halvening, and that would encourage people to keep putting in because they're getting so much value back. And there's a ton of liquidity. It's not like there's no liquidity. There's already in 5 days, there's already $300,000 in liquidity. And that just keeps growing. It was only 100,000, a few days ago. So over time, once that increases, the price increases, the value increases, the scarcity increases, and the inflow of native tokens increases.
No.
Which in turn means holding the actual token for a longer period of time kind of makes sense, because you want to hold something that appreciates in value and has a ton of liquidity, right? And also having a contract which is immutable, cannot be changed. No liquidity can be removed, right? Except for people that want to sell, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it operates. It's a machine, you could say, that's designed to be scarce.
Absolutely. And these the rewards getting cut in half it's beautiful here, because let's say at 9 months you're already down to like almost 5,000 XNF a day only being distributed versus 20,000 right now. So like at that 1 year mark, when people start unlocking, let's say people let their locks just go and they don't renew it. I don't know why they would, but let's just say some do that, and then they get their like XNF unlocked and they go to sell it. Well, the amount being distributed each day is so scarce. Even at just 1 year, it's less than 5,000. About like you'd be hard pressed to sell that because it's only going to get more scarce.
Yeah, the thing is, there's the best way to sell is to actually form a liquidity pool, a secondary liquidity pool. Because if you actually put up liquidity of XNF, if the price of the buyback is, like the buyback and burn is happening, the price is going to continue going up, right? So you're kind of scaling out of your position at higher prices, because what's happening now, someone's going to buy from the secondary pool and sell into the protocol on liquidity, removing the tokens forever, right? So they can never be sold again. And two, the secondary pool is increasing at the same time, and you're scaling out of your position at higher prices instead of just at lower prices.
Interesting.
And you're getting the fees on top of that for providing that LP. Uniswap V3 does have decent amount of fees that you could get on the volume.
Well, that's an interesting strategy. And I've actually heard another developer tell me that as well. They're like, with this protocol, just make a liquidity pool and that's how you should sell your tokens. Like, oh, that's smart. So that's very interesting way to sell tokens if you wanted to get maybe more of a little bit more profit out of it. So brilliant, man. Thanks for the tip. And that can go for other projects as well. So if you're an advanced DeFi user and you know how to make liquidity, that's something to consider.
One thing is that the 1% fee tier pool is controlled by the protocol, which means no user can add to that. They only can add to the other fee tiers on Uniswap V3, or they can create a different pair for XNF. I think right now someone has created a YSL pair. So it's kind of free, like we don't have taxes. We don't add all those things. Like the token itself is completely permissionless. Anyone can create any pair for XNF and know that there will be a buying pressure on that. Because as XNF price increases, people will buy from the secondary pools to sell into the protocol on liquidity, basically removing it out of circulation forever, eventually as the buyback and burn kicks in on those tokens. But at the same time, it gives the LP provider and the secondary pools you could say, a way to exit their position and to earn LP fees, right?
Yeah.
As the buying pressure comes in onto those pools, because it opens the arb opportunity, right? If you are below the protocol price, it kind of means that you would have to, like, there's that potential where you could just buy and sell and make the difference, right?
Yeah, and then you're just making fees at that point, just waiting, basically.
Yeah, so that's the beauty. Like, that's how I can see a lot of people exiting their position, because it's instead of dumping it, like, you will never get the best price, right? You'll always get the best price by providing liquidity and scaling out your position.
Right, because if you dump it, you're gonna cause slippage on your own exit strategy, and then sell at a lower price because of your own actions.
You see, the thing is, that makes sense if the protocol doesn't do a 70% buyback and burn, right? If the protocol is buying back and burning insanely, there's no reason for you to dump it, right? Because you know that tomorrow's price could be higher than today's price.
For sure. I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is
so you can see, like, whoever sold yesterday, we had like $3,000 worth of sales. It just got eaten up.
Yeah.
You know,
like, I can never blame anybody for profit taking, right? Good on them. If they see a 2x, some people are going to take that no matter what. I don't blame them at all. That's a great trade. At the same time,
it's the mindset, really. Like
a 5x and 3 days later, I don't know.
I would say, that's the reason why I say forming that pool and scaling out your position knows that means you'll always know that you'll be scaling out at higher prices than just getting that price, yesterday's price, which was like, what, $2, and now it's $3, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I'm viewing it. You know, at least you get the, you know, like, if XNF was to go to $10, then you're kind of scaling out, you know, at, you know, $4, $5, $6, $7, you know?
You're DCAing out, basically, plus making fees on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
Uniswap V3 is amazing when it comes to fees. It's very different from V2. V2 is kind of like, full range, not very profitable. Concentrated liquidity is the key.
Yeah.
At the moment, you can make a ton from Uniswap V3 LP providing.
I have some friends who do that, and they're really good at it, and they make serious money just providing liquidity using the V3 system, and that's something I kind of want to mess around with a little more when I get some time. Maybe XNF will be my way to play around with that if I decide to sell. I
see XNF more.
I mean, I'm going to use this to swap now, man. Like, I don't see why I would not use this. I would be crazy not to. I've got a couple other swaps that I like just because, like, my friends made them or they donate to charity, some of the fees or something, and, like, that's cool. At the same time, though, this is a meta aggregator of aggregators. So it already is all encompassing of their DEXs and swaps. And I can go any chain, including Bitcoin, which is wild. I can go from Bitcoin to Ethereum or Bitcoin to Binance. Yeah. So that's nuts. And then you guys don't add on any extra fees. So it's free basically to use this service compared to anybody else. And if I wanted to, if I'm on a chain that you guys have deployed XNF on, I could basically just say, hit me with the 0.5% fee and let me start accruing my position here in XNF, which will earn me native tokens on that chain every single day and start accruing staked XNF for me to be released at some later point in time if I wanted to, or I could just keep rolling it over and getting native tokens. Or I could recycle my rewards and get XNF tokens immediately within the next 24 hours and start making liquidity pairs with it to
Just
DCA out and earn some fees.
Yeah.
I love it, man. I don't see why I would not use this swap. It's immutable. It's trustless. I guess one thing to note is, since it is an aggregator, like other aggregators that hop between routes, you know, there is some risk, I guess, in these other contracts from these other swaps and stuff. Like, so that's just something I want to point out. Like, you guys have to know. Like, go ahead.
What we do is we vet the aggregators before. Like, most of the aggregators that you see are quite popular aggregators, like Paraswap, 1inch, KyberSwap, Squid, XY Finance. These guys, or Li-Fi, for example, these guys are, you know, have a track history. They've been used, you know, they've been tested. We have direct communication with their teams, and they are like partners, right? At this stage, like we provide them volume, and they help us spread awareness, co-marketing, and in certain ways, you could say. But we kind of vet every partner that, you know, we do incorporate. We don't just take anyone, I would say.
Well, that's good to know. I'm glad you guys vet your aggregators and DEXs that you use here. That makes me feel a lot better that it's, you know, you guys have an active role in kind of doing some due diligence on who you add in to your potential routing. I like that.
Yeah.
Dude, like this is crazy. I could send BNB. I could send one BNB straight to my Bitcoin wallet in one click. This is nuts. For 1 cent. It cost me 1 penny. How's that possible?
The thing is, because it's cheaper to send. You see, when you interact with contracts like 1inch, Paraswap, XY Finance, these guys, right? You're interacting with their contracts that aggregate you the best route, right? So the fees are slightly higher compared to just sending a simple transaction to a non-EVM to perform the swap, right? Because they do it in a centralized way.
Right.
You know, like Change Now, which will swap it using centralized exchanges, then redrawing it to your wallet, basically. Some of the routes I've noticed are quite fast, like FixFlow. It's more of a non-EVM, and you tend to get your Bitcoin instantly, you know, compared to others.
But you're paying probably market rate on their central exchange or something, and that's why you're not getting
1%. You get it 1%, I would say. Like the fee, the difference. You mean the spread would probably be like 1%.
Yeah, the spread. And that's why you see this difference. It's, in this case, you get 0.00487 Bitcoin, whereas if you use the best route or you clicked max return and you went with Changely, it would be 0.00499 Bitcoin. I guess that's significant. So it's so cool. You have these tabs set up where I can either go max return, lowest gas, fastest route, or the best route probably is a mix. I like that. That's very convenient.
Yeah, the best route basically means it's the one. Best route includes the gas. Max return just doesn't include the gas. It just shows how much of the token you would receive back. So the best route basically means it takes in consideration the gas, even though minusing it from the return that you get. Sometimes you might receive less, but you're actually paying less gas. But there's also a few things, like, for example, if you wanted to go cross-chain, right, between different chains, I would say at the moment, Squid would probably be instant. In 20 seconds, it's on another chain. So Squid route would be one of my favorite routes, right, to use when bridging between the chains for an EVM chain. XY Finance is not bad. You know, we have a good relationship with them. Li-Fi, quite common in DeFi. If you're familiar with Li-Fi, then you'll probably be familiar with other cross-chain providers. Like I think Rubik is one. That's
I've used Rubik and Rango and a couple others.
Yeah.
They're all good, and they all have their benefits and their pros and cons. And some have certain pairs or access to pairs that others don't. Some incorporate smaller DEXs, while others might not. So I might have to use different ones depending on my use case. But here, this is a meta aggregator of those aggregators. So instead of me having like 10 bookmarks like I do right now for swaps and DEXs and bridging, I could just use this, and it has Rubik and Rango here and all these other ones, and Change Now, and I could just use this and have all the info on one screen in whatever fashion I want. If I want the best return or the lowest gas or the fastest route or just the best route, just do the thinking for me. You guys do that basically in real time, and you can refresh it here automatically. And this is super nice, man. I'm telling you what, I've been doing DeFi for a while. This is slick. This is really nice. Good job.
I mean,
good job on this, man. This is great.
The goal was to make the user, one, they don't have to pay a fee. Two, to make it simple for a user to come to Xenify, to use the tool, right? Because now there's no reason why you shouldn't, because we don't charge a fee. You get to see the best route at a single glance. You don't have to open a million of tabs of different aggregators to determine which one offers the best price. And two, we provide, you could say, solutions that are, I would say, harder to achieve, where you can go from Bitcoin to any EVM chain, right, with a single click and a Unisat wallet. We even perform swaps through private swaps, because we have an aggregator, our partner, Houdini Swap, which basically can prioritize, like make it private by tunneling your swap through Monero and then releasing it in a EVM token. So, and that's all of that can be done through Xenify. And at the same time, you can pay a fee and earn XNF. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. The fee is optional. So if I'm being stingy that day and I'm like, I don't want to invest any thing right now. I want it as cheap as possible, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to do, or if it's on any of these other networks that you guys aren't on yet, it's not even an option there yet, I can just do it. No extra fee, completely free.
No, for the other chains, it's default free. So if we're not deployed there, it's default free. Yeah.
There's not even an option to click. It's just free. And if you guys are on that chain, like Arbitrum right now, or BNB Smart Chain in 3 days or so, then it says, hey, do you want a 0.5% swap fee applied that will enter you into the swap auction? And I'm going to say yes every time, because that makes investing easy for me. So I could just, like, anytime I'm doing any kind of swapping, which I do all the time, anytime I'm going cross-chain, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to use this from now on. And and that's straight up. I'm not just saying that, people. Anybody listening, you know how I am. These guys didn't pay me to say any of this crap, right? I tell you exactly how I feel. And I don't sugarcoat things. And I'll tell you good or bad if I like something. So I really like this. Full transparency, assuming everything works like clockwork, which according to your double audits from PeckShield and Solid Proof, they should. Everything should work as you say. I'm going to use this, and I'm always going to say, yes, invest that 0.5% into the swap auction, and I'm going to start trying to accrue a position here in XNF, because this could be game-changing. I mean, the aggregator of aggregator thing, especially across Bitcoin and all these other networks at the same time, no extra fees. This is already a game changer. So this is my new DEX, right? This is my new DEX going forward, my new swap, my new aggregator, my new bridge. And at the same time, I'm bad at investing. So if it's just like, hey, do you want, it's like at the grocery store, do you want to donate 50 cents to this animal rescue? I'll be like, yeah, sure. I run an animal rescue. I'm going to do that every single time. But I also like investing and stacking crypto. So to me, I'll be like, yeah, 0.5%, whatever. I'd pay that anyway somewhere else. Here you go. And then all of a sudden, I'm over here in the earning tab. And let's say I come over here on BNB Smart Chain. And then I would have the swap auction. I would have pending VE XNF that the next day would be locked for a year or whatever. And I would start getting BNB rewards every single day. And I could recycle them and get XNF plus the claim rewards and all this stuff. And look at this chart right now. If this thing continues the way it is with the game theory and tokenomics, and especially if you guys drive hard volume to this on BNB Smart Chain.
Ethereum will do that. Ethereum will help with that.
For sure. But I mean, BNB Smart Chain's crazy anyways.
Yeah.
The volume over there is wild.
Yeah. So that's why we've actually tried to, you could say, try to not improve, but try to make it a bit more attracting to it, more towards a user that likes to see price appreciation and yield come in, because it'll be more of an aggressive approach, more volatile, more aggressive, more rewarding, more BNB coming in it. Price would be going up like 10x, 20x, more faster, basically. That's what the BNB chain will be this Friday.
And I like that. I like all those things you just said. As a BNB Smart Chain degen, I am a DeFi degen at heart. I can't help it. And this is a nice way for me to just do my daily DeFi degen activities, swapping things around, moving coins around, and at the same time just stacking up a position here, getting XNF tokens, and also stacking up BNB through all the fees that this thing is generating, and all the claim fees, all the burn fees and auction fees, and all the buybacks and burns, making my staked XNF go up, or the XNF I'm earning from these other auctions. Like, there's just so many ways to earn yield out of this thing. At the same time, if you guys drive serious volume, this could just be absolutely insane, where with this distribution schedule and scarcity driven model, this could really become a supply shock situation where demand just outpaces supply. If you guys are buying and burning this like crazy, and those 22.6 million tokens get distributed over the next 200 years, and the buybacks and burns are just eating those up, yeah, this $3 we're seeing right now could be peanuts. If even on Arbitrum, like let's say in a year, what if this is $10, $50? What if it's $100? Who knows?
Yeah,
I'm just throwing stuff out there. But
you can do the maths really. Like even if with 1,000 ETH entering, you do know that 700 ETH is going to go towards buying and burning XNF.
Yeah.
Now the liquidity pool will be injected with 700 ETH. So it's just going to be massive, I would say, with the potential. And given that on Ethereum, 1,000 ETH is nothing to ETH words. You know, They can pour like 10,000 ETH into a project.
Man. With each chain that you deploy on, is there 22.6 million tokens?
Each chain has its own iteration of XNF. So EXNF is the same as XNF in terms of distribution. And actually, the only thing that's changed between Arbitrum and the BNB chain is that there's less liquid tokens distributed each day compared to Arbitrum. Arbitrum has 50%, right?
Right.
But the BNB chain will be 25%.
25%.
But the BNB chain will start with a lower pool size. It won't be 100,000 like Arbitrum. It'll be 20,000, which means the price appreciation on each new cycle will be faster more aggressive and more rewarding because the amount of XNF tokens, BXNF tokens that will be distributed will be more valuable, which will encourage people to participate to chase the yield in the sense that, and that in turn would accelerate the buyback and burning of the BXNF tokens on a smaller amount of tokens, you could say, or initial liquidity. Right now, as you see, Arbitrum, we burnt 50% of the initial LP within 5 days. So you could say like every day it's been burning 10% of the LP. But imagine if you start with 20,000.
Right.
And what will the price be after 5 days?
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah. So it could go up multiple X's, and at the same time, it also improves the yield that you're giving out, which encourages more BNB to keep flowing in. And then you get recycling that amplifies the burning and the entire process of buyback and burns. And in turn, that encourages people to swap to Xenify, right? And because a lot of people earn BNB, right? They do trading in BNB. Normally they use Pancake Swap. Now there's no reason to sell any of your tokens or buy any of your tokens, not through Xenify, because if you do it and pay the fee, you could benefit from this, because that 5% is just going to keep increasing in value. If the token is $10 on BNB chain and you're giving out 1,000, right, a day, that's a significant amount of, rewards you're giving out to those that swap.
Yeah. That's another thing. If you are swapping and using this like I will be, I will be like we will be making native token rewards and XNF rewards. It's really cool. So for participating in this ecosystem, you benefit from your own participation and everybody else's participation at the same time. And as this grows in popularity and use and volume, that can be significant. And especially if you get in early. So anybody who's subscribed to my channel and watches this, like you're hearing this here first. Arbitrum launched like 3 days ago, and BNB Smart Chain Xenify will be launching on in 3 days. So if I have this video out before then, and you know about this, then on December 8th, and you start swapping around and using this, you could start accruing a significant position here just from doing your normal swapping. Or if you have some YSL or V, or you have some Zen tokens, or you just have some BNB sitting around, you can get a nice early position and start getting a huge amount of the platform
think of it this way. When a user participates with BNB, say he goes into the BNB auction, right? And he's receiving XNF, VE XNF, right?
Yeah.
At the end. That lock position is increasing in value. So instead of him staking that BNB and earning 20%, 4%, 50%, or even 100%, right? That VE XNF is going to go up multiple X's in value, right? And at the same time, you're earning a ton of BNB. You probably even ROI and get out your initial capital that you even put in if the same amount of BNB was to flow in on every new cycle for the next 5 days, because 25% is instantly given out each day. So that's how we're viewing it. So if usually a whale would want to go into an asset that, one, has a ton of liquidity, two, the price is increasing, and three, it's scarce, and four, it has the ability to hold it for a certain number of, a year at least, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's earning him BNB. Because there's not many assets out there that can give you a return of 2 or 3x in BNB within, a short period of time. And at the
No.
same time, accrue value on the underlying asset, which is BXNF, that's going up in value. So if you got like 1,000 XNF, you initially, let's say, got it for $1,000, and now it's $100. You've basically got $100,000, and
Right.
and you've probably maybe earned like 50,000 or 100,000 in BNB throughout that year, or maybe even $200,000 in BNB. Because of the money that's come in during that run up. Because remember that as the price goes up, the distribution of that tokens increase. So over time, if the price is $100, it means there's a ton, like millions, right? Being distributed in a day. And at that time, you can imagine the amount of users that will be coming in, and the amount of liquidity that will be generated.
Plus, we're only talking the XNF side of the pool. Just imagine ETH going up with this next bull run that it seems we are starting in right now. And same with BNB. So let's say I get 1,000 XNF tokens locked up for a year. And let's say this is on the BNB chain. Let's say I get 1,000 XNF tokens locked up. Let's say I forget about them and they unlock in 1 year. And let's say XNF is, I don't even know. Let's say it's 100x in price. I've got $100,000. And that's assuming the price of BNB has basically stayed the same. So let's say BNB has gone up 6 to 10x in the bull run. Then things get crazy. Then it's like, oh my gosh, $500,000. And that's what happens in some of these DeFi projects going from a bear market to a bull market. I remember the last time this happened, I have friends who literally turned like $10,000 into like $10 million in a short amount of time. It's almost unbelievable, but I know people who did this personally, and their whole life is different now. Like they did it, they won, right? That's for me, the beauty and the hope of the bull market. And I'm always looking, obviously, for the blue chips as my main hold, right? But at the same time, if I'm doing swapping and I'm using aggregators anyway, why not use this to have the small fee and just start accruing a position? And if that small position adds up over time to 1,000 XNF, and then that's worth $100,000 someday, hallelujah, right? So that would be a beautiful scenario. This is not financial advice. I'm speculating, but this is, the potential of DeFi and crypto, especially going into the bull market when things start getting really, really exciting again. And this I think is really cool.
I can see a lot of people actually coming from an EVM chain into Bitcoin and paying a fee. So you can actually sell, your tokens and go in and, acquire Bitcoin and start, piling up your moon bag, let's say, right, for the next Bitcoin bull run. But at the same time, pay that fee and actually start earning native BNB rewards each day,
Right.
So it could be massive. The thing is, and at the same time, the swap auction there's no discounts attached to it, like how it is for the other auctions, which means you can participate in the swap auction any time of the cycle. Because how it's decided is based on each cycle, the amount of fees in swaps that have been occurred, then your share of that, it will determine your share of the distributed VEXNF, the 5%.
Okay. Yes, I see.
Yeah. So you can see a lot of people, they wait until the end or so to see how much have come in the auction. And then that's why you see before the cycle, you sometimes get a bull run on the price before the main bull push.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And And that's interesting. So like the swap fees are getting 5% of the daily distributions of XNF. However, the other auctions, like let's say we're on BNB, the BNB auction itself, you said was getting 70%.
Yeah, the BNB auction will get 70% as VE XNF. 5% goes to the swap auction, and then 25 to the VZen and YSL burns.
So if I wanted to get a huge position quickly in VXNF on BNB Smart Chain when you launch on the 8th, I'm gonna do the swapping and get part of that 5% of the daily distributions just for doing my swapping. However, if I have some BNB lying around, you can get a large amount potentially of the daily distributions. If there's 20,000 being distributed a day, almost 15,000 of them are going towards the BNB auction. So if you put in, I don't know, a couple $100 of BNB that day into the auction, and maybe some other people put in a couple $100 too, like you could end up with thousands of XNF from that. And then if the price is appreciating like this, I mean, that could be insane. Seriously.
Yeah, it could go up faster because there's a shallow LP, 20,000. And remember that there will be a ton of liquidity because you can see how it's performing on Arbitrum, where it started with 100,000 and now it's at 300,000.
Yeah.
It's just that the price will be increasing very, very fast compared to Arbitrum.
So that is super exciting. And as that price is increasing, it is eating away at the XNF supply, putting it forever into the black hole. It's just beautiful. If you look at this, in like 3 days, the liquidity is already up to $330 some thousand. The total XNF burned is over $54,000. The total XNF removed is 103,000, or not dollars, but 103,000 tokens. And it says this is the total quantity of XNF tokens that have been permanently removed from circulation. And that's significant. I mean, 22.6 million tokens in total, and over 100,000 of them in the first 3 days are already out of circulation forever. That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's only going to go up on every new cycle.
Yeah. And look, talk about, the Zen token itself, 64.6 billion VZen burned just on Arbitrum.
Yeah.
The Zen community must be loving this right now.
Yeah. I think BNB chain is going to burn a ton of VZen. Because of for you to participate with VZen, it's far cheaper on the BNB chain. So a lot of Zenians, they're waiting for the BNB chain, and then they're going to go in. They're going to burn their OP Zen, and then they're going to go into the VZen auctions. Because it's YSL on the BNB chain will be 1 YSL per batch, whereas for VZen, it will be 10 million VZen for one batch, which makes it way cheaper to participate in.
Interesting.
Yeah. Roughly, I would say Zenians kind of make up. I think right now they're one of the largest burners, I think, on Ethereum and a few other chains.
Well, that's amazing. So I think
we're overall transactions. I would say Zen makes up the top 5.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They have a very huge community. They came from Hexicans, a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's a very strong community. And there's also a big overlap with Pulse and the Pulse chain community here.
Yeah.
and I have a lot of Pulse Chain users in my audience as well, and I've made some, good money on Pulse Chain on different like swaps, like Spark Swap and stuff. When that came out, they had some good yields and stuff, and yeah, so Pulse Chain community is strong. I've got a lot of people over there. This is great. Can I swap to Pulse Chain using Xenify?
At the moment, Pulse Chain is one of the hardest, you could say, routes to go to, because a lot of aggregators, they don't support it, like Layer 0, even the backend technology provided similar to Layer 0, XLR, they don't really support Pulse Chain. So,
I'm good friends with the team over at SparkSwap who created the first bridge from Pulse Chain to BNB Smart Chain. So if you want, I can put you in touch with them if you aren't already. Maybe you guys can plug that in here too and get Pulse Chain in your routes. I don't know, just an idea. I'm good friends with them.
Sure. I mean, send it over.
All right, cool.
I think the main thing, if you want to find a route to Pulse Chain, I would say the best is to go from PLS at the moment to another chain, because obviously PLS is commonly used from non-EVM chains, right? Like ChangeNow and etc. So you probably get a route if you go that method. But if you're going from another token within the Pulse Chain ecosystem, then there's a high possibility you might not find a route, in other words.
Okay, interesting.
But we look into it. We're always adding new aggregators. We're always adding new chains. We did recently add quite a number of chains, like to this year, like it's almost 54 now. I think it is 54.
Wow.
So
54 chains.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Like we even have Monero. Like you can swap out into Monero. Like you can go from Ethereum to Monero.
That's amazing.
Or Bitcoin to Monero.
My video's gonna get shadow banned now that you've said the word. That's amazing though. I have a lot of people in my community that love Monero because they love their privacy, and I think it's great technology, and I think it's gotten the rub the wrong way from the man, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, even doing swaps through Houdini Swap utilizes Monero. So like if you swap, let's just say Ethereum into, let's just say Matic, right, on Polygon, and if you use Houdini Swap as a route, then it would basically tunnel your Ethereum into Monero and then swap it into Matic from Monero, right?
That's
and
amazing.
Then send it back to you, and you can do it through Xenify by just selecting Houdini Swap as a route.
That is
good
to know.
Yeah, it's quite straightforward, and it's just like doing a normal swap.
Yeah.
It might take longer.
Put you on would that flag any of your wallets on any lists anywhere if you did that?
No.
That you know of? No.
No. Okay. I think Houdini Swap is actually is quite popular actually at the moment in the space. We know the team, we know who they are, and so far, personally, we have had a lot of our users use Houdini Swap. They prefer their privacy, and they tend to use it, going into the ordinals, from Bitcoin and coming out using Houdini Swap.
Well, that's good to know, and I will take note of that. That could be useful because I too think privacy is important out here, and I like that you guys have that as an option.
Yeah, we made it default private when you use Houdini Swap through Xenify. So it's always private. It might take a longer, like sometimes these type of swaps take an hour, 30 minutes to process. But it does do the perform the swaps and etc. It's just that these non-EVM type of swaps, they're not like instant, right? Like how it is using squid or using 1 inch, where you get it in seconds, right? So it's just time, when you keep using it every time, you'll get used to it basically. Like, oh, okay, in 30 minutes, I'll get my funds, Or even if there's an issue, it's so simple that some of the issues we have direct communication with the team, right? So we can easily say, hey, this user's funds are stuck. Can you sort it out? And then within maybe an hour, it's fixed. Or you could actually directly, like Houdini Swap, they even have a support bot, which is on Telegram. And you just provide the hash, the secret hash, right? That is based on your swap, right? And they will then process that transaction. And then they will delete the record from their database within 24 hours.
Interesting. That's news to me.
Yeah, it's totally private. That's how they operate. Like the team is also not doxed, but they have been funded by some big influencers. Like, do you know Mario on Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of invested into them.
Oh,
like
cool.
VC Capital. Yeah, so there's a lot of big players, Crypto, Marin, and that are involved with their team. Publicly, they're not doxed, but privately, yeah, they are.
Okay. Well, that's all fascinating stuff. I mean, I can't think of any other questions at the moment. I mean, I've actually got just a few quick due diligence questions for you guys.
Okay.
But in terms of how everything works and what the value proposition is and strategies and the utility, I think I have a really great understanding of it. Before I jump into those real fast due diligence questions, in your opinions, what do you think is the best strategy for a new user who wants to make the most amount of potential money in Xenify? So let's say I'm a new user here and I'm just interested in making rewards and yield. What do you think would be the best strategy for me?
The BNB auction.
The BNB
which
auction.
Chain, though? Which chain? Arbitrum.
Let's say BNB because I love BNB Smart Chain, and so does my community. That's kind of where I got my start out here. So yeah, let's say the BNB.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're a new user, you probably have BNB, right? Because you're on the BNB chain. I would say the easiest would be to participate in the BNB auction. That will be the easiest method to participate and start earning BNB from the next cycle. Once you claim your VE XNF, then you start earning BNB every day.
Got it.
But you have to remember, you have to extend that lock because obviously your earning power decreases over that 60-day duration.
Right. Okay, so in your opinion, the best strategy for somebody who is new here, who's trying to make the most amount of yield potentially, would be on the BNB launch, would be the BNB auction and then extending.
Yeah, he also gets the most, remember, 70%.
Gets the most of the daily distribution, 70% of them. And that is assuming in order for them to maximize their rewards, that's assuming they keep their earning power topped off by every single day, basically going up here to the lock tab and going to their VE XNF position.
You can just press merge all, or it kind of does it automatically. So even if you have a single position, it'll just extend that lock for you by a year. So you don't have to go into the NFT and manually set the date. You can just press that one button.
Just to keep my VE power maxed, I'd come to the lock tab here. Now just click merge all. Even if I only have one NFT, click merge all. It automatically extends your VE NFT position all the way out. And if you have multiple positions, it does merge them. So keep that in mind. And that's super easy. So I pay probably just a small gas fee each day to keep my V power maxed.
We also have a claim all and recycle, and that's on the earn page. So basically what that does is if you have, let's say, ETH, if you have XNF, if you have VE-XNF, and you click the claim all recycle, that basically will recycle your ETH and it will claim your XNF and your VE-XNF into your wallet, basically. So that's also done within one transaction. So you don't have to claim, each one or recycle and then claim the other two. So it does it for you in one transaction.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And we
so
even
if
have
I've got a whole bunch of VE-XNF NFTs, I just come on down here on the earn tab to the bottom and I click this claim all button on my VE-XNF rewards, and it just does it in one transaction.
It will claim that VE-XNF, but then you would have to merge it after that if you have existing NFTs.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just claims that as a new NFT, in other words.
I see.
Yeah. But then if you have XNF rewards, you can actually click the lock button. What the lock button does is it will first claim with one transaction, and then the second transaction, it will lock it for a year.
I see.
So you don't have to go to the lock page, because some people get confused, right? Like they claim the XNF and they think they can start earning, native rewards. But the only way for you to earn the native is by locking it. So that's why we have it there, because they don't have to go to the lock page. They can just press lock and it creates that NFT for them.
Okay. So if I'm recycling one of my positions and I'm over here accruing XNF rewards and I want to lock those up so I can keep getting more native rewards and stuff, I would just click lock down here and it would automatically do that for me.
Right. And then even if you choose to recycle all and claim all, right, and you have the XNF now in your wallet, you can actually go to the lock page and you can actually, you have so many options on the lock page. You can go into an individual NFT, you can add that XNF to that NFT, you can split the NFT, you can transfer the NFT, you can merge the NFT with other NFTs, or you can just click the merge all, which just does it all for you at a 1 year lock.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's good enough for me in terms of strategy. That sounds good to me. Now I've got a couple due diligence questions real quick. We already answered a lot of this stuff, so we won't have to go over it again. So who else is on the core team and what country is everybody from?
Okay. At the moment, we have an in-house team. They've been with us for quite a while now. Personally, I'm from currently in Australia. Days in Spain, Madrid.
But come from Argentina.
We have our developers are mainly located in Europe and different parts, like our lead dev in the front end is actually from Singapore. All the devs have been KYC'd internally, externally. We have passports. We have had video calls with them prior to them working for us. And they've been working. The contracts that they have developed for us have already been audited by PackShield, not once, but almost 3 times. Prior to that, they have created different other contracts while, they were working with us. So,
not to mention our vetting process and hiring process is quite thorough.
Extensive.
There's extensive. There's many steps, including, checking your previous employment, as Simran said, video calls. Then we have internal KYC and a third-party KYC to, check all their info.
We even do.
And most of them have been working for us either 2 years or a year at this point. Yeah.
And at the same time, the devs, they worked for bigger organizations like Dev companies, like development companies in Europe. So they have either experience working, for companies that develop Solidity code, because a lot of these companies kind of fell apart in the bear market, and a lot of their Solidity developers kind of didn't have a job right at that point. So it was good for us because we had the opportunity to find really talented devs to work for us.
Yeah,
So,
to get you an idea, we interviewed and vetted around like 200 plus people.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, not all went through to the video call, interview process, but either the video recording, the, vetting of the CV, and then, following to the next steps, or the exercise, we test them as well. Yeah, around 200 plus people.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, that's good to know. Glad you guys are so diligent about that. And you said all the founders are KYC'd by Solid Proof, and you guys are all fully doxed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like
these are
you can
your
find
real
our
names.
names.
These are your real names and your real LinkedIn profiles. And you guys have been on camera, I've seen multiple times on other YouTube videos and things like that, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, great. That's more than sufficient for what I normally hear. So awesome. All right.
At the end of the day, the
yeah.
contract, like I always say, right? Code is law. So the contracts are mutable. The founders can't adjust anything. The team can't adjust anything. No one can really stop the machine from running. So
yeah.
So that's how we see it.
Awesome. Okay, so how is the team compensated by the protocol? What ensures that you guys are motivated to keep pushing Xenify and making it as good as can be and getting it out there?
Yeah, so one of the difficult parts is if you look at other aggregators, right, like 1inch, they earn mainly from the swaps, right? They take the fee, they take this positive slippage, they take a lot of value from their users swapping with them.
Yeah.
And through us, I would say we earn not by you using Xenify, but by you participating. So by you participating in the auctions, 5% is then given to the team to basically market, to outreach, to go to conferences where, it can be really expensive to spread the word, one conference.
Cover future audits as well, since those are expensive as well.
Building out different, building on top of Xenify, like where, another project that maybe utilizes XNF tokens, right, in a different sort of way, burn XNF, and getting that audited and growing this ecosystem out. So
and maintaining the current team as well.
Yeah, and maintaining. Yeah, because at the end of the day, right, if you want talented devs, right, you can't offer them something which is like, like Uniswap pays their devs over 100K a year.
Yeah.
Right. And they have like 150 devs. So if we're going to compete with people which are of that standard, right, there needs to be some sort of revenue that comes in a way for us to, provide to our devs so that they can put a roof over their heads and provide for their family,
Absolutely. I totally agree. So I'm glad that you guys have that thought out and built in.
Yeah. So, but with the same time, we didn't want to take a fee generally on the user's experience and swapping. So that's why we put it in a way where it's optional. And if you want to participate, right, in something that could have a ton of value, then I would say that's how we benefit, in the sense that 5% of that would come to us to help grow out the ecosystem for the future.
Fantastic. And all of these questions are to analyze risk, right? And I like to ask this because generally if you guys are doing all this work and not getting paid, that's not good, right? I have found if people say I'm not getting paid at all here because I'm just doing it because I'm a DeFi angel or something, they're gonna rug pull essentially. Now I'm not saying you guys are or you even could with this protocol because it's immutable and everything, but it's good to know in this situation that the risk that I'm concerned about is what keeps you guys motivated to keep adding aggregators, doing the marketing, getting the word out there, doing all that stuff. And I think that that's a great explanation. It's very clear cut. It's all in the light paper, the white paper. So I'm glad you guys are fully transparent about how this business operates.
Yeah.
And that you guys are motivated to keep doing this. Because like I said, if you guys are just like, I'm bored, I'm going to walk away now, that's not great. But if you guys can actually, pay, the mortgage while you're working on this, then you're not going to be tempted to go take a high paying job being a smart contract developer somewhere else when this thing can
grow it at the same time, right?
Exactly. So it's mutually incentivizing, and I'm always looking for that in any project I analyze. If they don't have that component somewhere, then I'm concerned. But I'm glad you guys have that. I'm glad you're fully upfront about everything. And I think that's very reasonable. And hopefully this thing gets huge and you guys can have a huge, massive team at some point like Uniswap. Okay, so great answers. Next question is speaking of potential risks of rug pull, we mentioned earlier that the smart contracts are immutable and they're also decentralized. So am I right in saying that nobody on the team can control the smart contracts at this point?
Correct. We can't basically remove anything. We can't set anything. There's no way of upgrading the contracts. The contracts have no admin keys. It was deployed to be immutable, trustless. And whatever has been coded at deployment is what will perform each day.
Indefinitely,
till the lifetime.
And the contracts are verified, so, not to mention audited, but anybody can, take a look.
Yeah, and it's been double audited.
Yeah.
Right. And I read those audits, like I said, and they cover the centralization risks very well in those audits. So check those out if you want to go into more detail on that.
I would say it was difficult. It was difficult because one, we had to think outside the box when, to make it completely decentralized, immutable, and a way where the protocol actually deploys the LP by itself on the second cycle without needing, someone to hold that ETH so that they can deploy the contract, by themselves. So a lot of things.
A lot of thinking.
Because I don't think there wasn't much other projects. I don't think there's any other project that has done immutable code and deploying Uniswap V3 by itself.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of risk. It's a ton. It was very nerve-wracking, because
of the deployment,
Yeah, because the code. You're so worried that once the code is deployed, once ETH starts entering this contract, you then have to wait a day. And then you have to wait for the protocol to actually add that liquidity pool and then make sure it did it properly without any mistakes, because one mistake could lead to everything getting destroyed, right? Because it's immutable. Right. We can't even upgrade the contract or do anything.
Yeah.
But so far you can see everything has gone perfect. The contracts are working as it's designed. Liquidity was added. Everything is perfect.
Love it. Next question is about liquidity. Is the liquidity off limits to you and the team and anybody else? Is it protected somehow?
So no one can buy from the protocol on liquidity. That's including everyone, including the team, the community, any user. No user or team can add liquidity to the 1% fee tier pool, which is the protocol on liquidity pool. the only thing that users can do is sell into that liquidity pool. So even if the team wanted to, they would have to participate and actually get XNF tokens, right, to perform those actions. So it's just like we as a team would have to participate with the community.
As any user, really.
Yeah, with any, as a part of the community to be able to get XNF tokens if you wanted to sell or stake or earn from it or to basically participate in that way. But generally, only the community can basically sell into it. But at the same time, if they sell into it, it creates scarcity because those tokens are out of circulation and can never be put back and eventually will be permanently destroyed by the buyback and burning mechanisms put in place.
Awesome. And that liquidity cannot be removed by any person. Like they can't take those LP tokens or anything like that. That's off limits to everybody. And the only contract that can interact with that is
the protocol.
It's trustless. It's not owned. It can't be controlled by any human, right?
Correct. So like how I said, right, the liquidity pool was not created by a human. It was created by a protocol that is immutable and has no admin keys. So
perfect.
No one can remove any liquidity, like the actual token itself, like from the contract, unless they actually sell XNF tokens.
Beautiful. All right, next question. Would your project be able to survive if you or one of the core team members left?
I would say yes. I would say yes. And that it would probably be hard. It would probably be hard.
Since it's immutable.
The code is immutable. We can't change it, right? But if you're referring to like future development, then it will be hard. Obviously, I always say our devs, I have a lot of respect for them. They put in a lot of work. They work 24 hours. They work on the weekends. They put in 100% in what they do. And I believe, yes, it will be really hard because, they did
understand it.
Yeah, they did create what they have created. But I feel like it won't stop us from growing in that case. Like, I believe that Xenify would grow eventually by itself, maybe with new builders building on top of it, or because you can earn native. Like a builder could do participate himself like in the XNF token and use the natives to reward himself to build utility for the token.
Yeah. So if one of you guys were to be like, hey, I'm leaving tomorrow or something, were to happen, there are continuity contingencies in place. It could be enacted, like somebody could be trained and brought on board.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And no multi-sigs would be gone forever, or like nobody would lose the keys to a wallet.
So actually, Xenify could.
What about the developer wallet though? So the developer wallet that gets that 5%, is it on a multi-sig?
That's on a multi-sig. Yeah.
How many people are on that multi-sig?
At the moment, I think 4 people are.
4.
Okay.
4.
So if you guys needed to, you guys could have a majority to replace somebody on the multi-sig if something were to happen,
correct.
right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
okay. Good. I'm always looking at like a corporate or like a business plan analysis. Like
we use the Gnosis Safe for that. Like we everything is decentralized. Like even the way we pay out salaries is through Llama Pay, which is like a better way of paying out salaries because it's like you're getting it every second and you can claim it from the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And That's very cool.
Yeah, Gnosis Safe is like the multi-sig, which is also convenient because, if something was to happen to me or someone, things can be changed. In other words, like you wouldn't be like gone forever kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Very good. Do you think your project would survive if this bear market continued for another year or two even?
I would say 100% because...
Yeah, I would say too. Yeah.
I mean, generally, the way we're looking at it is, one, it can bring in a ton of value, right? Just because of the participation, right? And the distribution. To me, I don't feel like we're even in a bull market just yet for, the altcoins. I think it's mainly Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum and the larger alts, but not yet flowed into like the DeFi realm yet. But when that does, I feel it could only explode, right? And you can see from the performance that we're already in that I think it would. And plus, we provide a service that is free to use, right? So that one would attract a ton of users that are already in DeFi or crypto, right? To use for their general swapping, right?
Yeah. And
in turn, they'll start learning, oh, if I swap and pay this fee, maybe I can earn some native on that. Maybe I'll just do that, right? A whale says. And then they perform a swap, and then that kind of brings in native tokens into the auctions, right? Mm-hmm. And does the buyback and burning and the reward distribution and etc., which in turn fuels that price up. So it could be interesting to see, because I feel like the price could just keep going up in the bear market. Yeah. And that might bring people to, jump into something that is appreciating in value, right? That can hold its value sustainably.
Yeah, that's the beauty of having real utility. You guys have what I think is one of the best utilities I've seen in a long time. Real DeFi utility, a meta aggregator of aggregators. And I've seen a couple aggregator of aggregators pitched to me the past couple months, and yours blows them all out of the water. So sorry if you guys are listening who just heard me say that. But this is really, really amazing. You're way further ahead than I've seen anybody on this kind of technology so far. And the fact that you're already operational on 54 chains using over 60 different aggregators and able to go between Bitcoin and EVM chains and even Monero and Litecoin and other things, I think it's really incredible. So, and then on top of that, the whole XNF ecosystem behind it is just fascinating to me. So,
and also free.
Also free. So I think this is bear market proof. And in the bull market, I think this thing could potentially become a monster if it really starts getting attention. So yeah, awesome. I like it. Now, in your opinions, what do you guys think is the biggest risk to participants in Xenify?
I would say the biggest risk is not understanding how everything works.
I was gonna say the same. Yeah.
And then judging their first interaction as a negative interaction because they didn't maybe understand the full
or read
structure.
Or go through. Yeah, because we would say, I mean, there's some parts we mentioned that it's very easy, like to just go into again the native auction, etc. But if you don't know the mechanics and go into without knowing anything, which we have seen some people do, they could make mistakes or think perhaps that now they have vSen and it's not locked.
I'll give you an example.
That they will earn rewards.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Right, one user participated. Right, he did a swap, I think on day 2. Okay, and then obviously he did a small swap, right? And he got like 0.1 VE XNF. Okay, he claimed it, right? And then on the next day, he actually participated, right? He burnt and got XNF tokens. And then he complained that when he locked his XNF tokens, he didn't receive enough ETH. He's like, he was saying, oh, I only received 8 cents in ETH, but I got like maybe, like 10 XNF tokens, right? So he didn't understand that ETH was based on his 0.8 VE XNF he had. And this was when the price was $1, right? And then he didn't understand that he needed to lock that XNF to actually earn, right? And when he locked it, he would only realize that at the end of the cycle. And then once he actually realized, he kind of like, oh, wow, you know?
Yeah.
And then, but before that time, he was like, oh, you know, I put this and I didn't get my rewards and this and that. And, you know, that's what I'm trying to say. Like the understanding is the part where
it's important.
I would say, yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
Because,
and I can give you even another example. We had a person that had, you know, they basically burned their Zen. They had vZen, and for some reason, they decided to sell their vZen, quote unquote, you know, swap it. But you know, the only available option in the routes is just, you know, LPs that people created that had very shallow liquidity, and they didn't even check how much will be the amount they would receive, which is right there in the route, right? So they did that, and the amount they received was like pennies of, you know, in comparison. But it's you had to do your research and check and understand how it works, right? So yeah.
Like, for example, right, vZen is permissionless. It's immutable. We can't adjust anything, right? So anyone can create a liquidity pool for vZen, right? And add, you know, anything, because it's permissionless. We can't do anything, right? But if you choose Xenify as a route, you're minting the token. That means you'll burn the Zen and mint the vZen, right? But if you choose to swap through someone else's liquidity pool that they formed, then there is a huge slippage that could happen, right? If you don't check how much tokens you're getting back in return. And that's how the user kind of lost money, because he tried to swap Zen into vZen without realizing that he needed to actually first check that he selected Xenify as a route instead of using someone else's liquidity pool, right?
Yeah.
On Uniswap.
I've seen that happen before too. And
yeah,
education is so important out here. So I hope everybody watches this video. I know we're over 3 hours on this already, almost 3.5 hours. But if somebody watches this whole thing, they should know basically everything about this and be fully educated.
Good to share, topic. I guess, to the community.
Because some people might not want to read the light paper, for instance, which is it's a book. It's very thorough.
But it's quite easy now. If you know, with ChatGDP, if you actually have the premium version, you can actually create a GPT and actually download the light paper and provide it to ChatGDP, and you can actually ask it questions. In fact, if you go to Xenify.io, if you go to, do you see that box there on the bottom?
No way. You guys got one of these? Awesome.
I mean, I don't think anyone uses it, but I have to check whether it's been updated, but it kind of provides an insight, you know, if you have a question. Obviously, it's AI, so it's not 100%.
Yeah.
But
that's so cool. I love this. So that is really awesome, guys. If you guys have questions, you can ask AI right here on Xenify.io. Click the little question mark in the bottom right corner. There's a little chat bubble. Click it, and it opens up Xenify AI, and it's the premium ChatGPT that has access to all of their documentation, and you can ask it questions, and it will answer them for you. And then if you need more help, you can go through the light paper yourself, or watch this 3-hour long YaBonks video and know every single thing about it in a fun and exciting manner. The whole time we've been talking, by the way, I keep going back to the chart. It's gone up like 31, 32% since we started this. Yeah. Maybe even more, like 6-7 hours ago. And during this whole AMA, it's just been going up, 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 up.
Yeah, you can see the pattern, how it plays out each day. So it kind of goes up in the first cycle beginning, and then it mellows out, and then the next day it goes up again. But it's only going to keep going up faster because there's more XNF being burnt.
Right.
So the speed of increase increases and the liquidity also accelerates. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised we'll probably hit 1 million in liquidity on Arbitrum quite fast. And that in turn
that would be amazing.
Would bring more users, more awareness. It spreads more awareness, right? The more liquidity you have, the price appreciation on every cycle, it tracks users. And right now we have a lot of Zenians, me included, supporting Xenify, so that we can spread the word of Zen and also spread the word of XNF and Xenify.
Awesome. Now let's talk about the future now. So where do you see this project in 6 months to a year?
I mean, we're going into a bull run next year, right? Because of the halvening. So, and code is immutable. We can't change it. We'll definitely be marketing aggressively, especially when we be deploying onto Ethereum, which will probably be next year in 3 months' time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. First step, Ethereum, then more marketing, then growing, the team, perhaps, strengthen those factors, in communication, those things that right now, we don't have the leeway to do. We do them ourselves. Thank God we have the experience. And we have a strong team right now. But as you know, as things grow, we need to fill in those gaps. And, go to perhaps events, spread the word. One of the things we also plan to do is build on top, as Simran mentioned, perhaps, build another project, but it's within the ecosystem of Xenify, meaning it relates to it and it brings more value. Yeah.
More revenue.
Awesome. And what chains do you think you'll be on in terms of XNF and the whole staking ecosystem here? What chains do you think that will be on in a year?
I would say right now our focus is Arbitrum, because one, it is the largest L2.
You meant Ethereum?
No, which chains?
Yeah,
so
chains?
So L2 will be Arbitrum. Right now it's BNB chain and Ethereum. So our focus is only 3 chains at the moment. We probably will go to X1, but we do have our sites. Nothing has been written in stone for Polygon and others, but we want to see how the BNB chain and Arbitrum perform before we go to Ethereum, and then from there we will see how whether it makes sense to go to other chains at that point. Because right now I would say the only chains that have a TVL that's over 1 billion is the Binance Smart Chain, Arbitrum, and Ethereum. So we're targeting TVL really, where the whales are, where's the volume, and where it kind of makes sense to go to,
Okay. So getting in early on like BNB or Arbitrum right now is probably the best first mover advantage here. And then when Ethereum launches later,
that will be crazy.
That will also be
Let's think
good
of
to
BNB.
Get a first mover advantage if somebody's into this. Okay.
That's gonna cause a lot of burning of XNF, Ethereum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, okay, where do you see the project in 3 to 5 years?
I would see it with maybe 10,000 active users, probably more at that time, because obviously, it will be crazy. The liquidity will be massive. We saw the last bull run, right? Where, the own forks, the Toon forks, they used to get around 100 million in TVL, right? So I can't imagine how much 100 million coming into a protocol like this would be, right, for yields and price and, the yields that are given out each day. And I think we'll have a ton of users at that point. And given that it's immutable, it's trustless, no team can actually remove any liquidity, and in basically abiding to the first principles, fair distribution of the token supply. There's no team allocation of tokens. I think we will gain a lot of adoption in the next bull run. And I think a lot of projects might move in this direction, is what I feel that could happen. And I think the community would eventually move into, like, first we had ICOs, right? White papers that had nothing underlying them, had a huge amount of capital flow into that. But then after that, people realized, and then they went into, decentralized things like the DeFi V1, which was Chainlink, and then we had the V2, which is the Olympus DAO. But I think most of those contracts, the only reason it gets rugged is because they're still controlled by the team or whoever the devs are. But for us, one, it's been double audited. Two, there's no owner functions, right, in the contracts, which means it was deployed immutable. So it doesn't even need to be renounced because there's nothing to renounce, right? Because it was deployed immutable. So I would say it would gain, like we've targeted 1, scarcity, 1, price appreciation, 3, liquidity, 4, the principles of the fair distribution of tokens would attract users to the protocol. And I think the yield that is actually paid out, it's not a reward token in another token. You're getting actual native tokens back.
Yeah. Well, I think that sounds very promising for the future of Xenify, especially as an immutable, trustless ecosystem that is out there now and looking very strong right out of the gate on Arbitrum. And this is, heading into the bull market, in my opinion. So this is all very exciting stuff. And I'm sure all the Zenians, all the Pulse Chain folks, and all the BNB Smart Chain DeFi degens like me are going to have a lot of fun with this. I'm going to be using this as my swap. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't at this point. Just technology-wise, utility-wise, it's a better aggregator of aggregators than I've seen so far. Plus, I have the opportunity to earn, and I can go places where normally it's a pain to go. So that's really cool. I think that's everything I have. I mean, we've been on a video call now for like 6 hours, and we've been recording for three and a half now. So I think we've covered everything. Let me pull my camera back up here. So, all right, Simran, Day, do you have anything else that you want to tell the audience today before we wrap things up?
I would say be ready for the BNB chain. It's going to be very interesting to see how the price moves up when you have a shallow liquidity pool of 20,000 tokens compared to 100,000. And I think in turn, we're going to see obviously less selling pressure because there'll only be 25% liquid each day. But that 25% is going to be valued probably greater than Arbitrum because of the value flying up, right? Multiple X's because of the pool. And at the same time, that would attract more BNB to come in. And in turn, that would feed the rewards for those that lock. So yes, exciting times. It will be at 9:30 p.m. UTC. You can actually get more information by following us on Twitter. We have
or Telegram if you have any questions. Again, since researching and doing your due diligence is very important. If you have any questions as well, we're always there in the chat. So jump in, come in.
And even if you have a transaction that is stuck, you can just reach out to either Day, me, or Jing Li, which is our lead dev. He'll be able to help you with your transaction.
All right, really good to know. So look for Xenify on Twitter, now known as X, and I believe you guys have a Telegram server as well. And check out their Medium articles if you want a quick dive into all this and an overview. Check out their Medium articles.
Yeah, we have
their
two, I think, that are pretty good.
Yeah.
Swap to earn, I think, and burn to earn. Those two articles is a must read.
Yes, I read those. They are very helpful. And at first, I know it seems overwhelming, but once you get a grasp on the ecosystem, it all starts making a lot of sense. So if you are listening still at this point, you probably know more about Xenify than 99.9% of the DeFi users out there, and that might give you a significant advantage if you decide to play around in this one, especially since we're early here and have an early mover advantage. So everybody watching, thank you so much for your time and attention. If you need to get a hold of me, if you have any questions about this, leave them in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. Check me out at discord.gg/YaBonks. I will have a Xenify channel in my Discord server with links to all this stuff and to this video. And you can ask any questions you have in there. Me and my community will be glad to help you out. Simran, Day, thank you so much for taking all of this time to very thoroughly cover Xenify with me. It's been really enlightening.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, it's been a
thank you
pleasure.
for having us. Hopefully
It's my
next time
pleasure.
we can do a recap.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll be on camera with my Xenify swag as well.
Awesome. I look forward to it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. I mean, we've put 6 or 7 hours into just the video call portion of this today. This has been, and time flew by though. I've learned so much about Xenify, and I am personally excited by this now. I'm definitely going to use you guys as my new way to swap tokens and go cross-chain. It's so easy and quick and cheap. And on top of that, I can make some additional crypto on top of it with potentially huge upside. I love it. It's decentralized, trustless, immutable, all the first principles there. So yeah, this is wonderful. So, all right, everybody watching, check these guys out at Xenify.io. Is that right?
Correct.
Xenify.io. And I will see you all on the next one, everybody. Thanks, Simran. Thank you, Day.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thanks. You. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
See ya.